is for the S's that have disappeared. H is for Haas, it's changed, my dear. I is for incredible, lots of changes to our edibles. F is freaky 'cause Mandela effects are all the buzz. And T is for time that's running fast. Y is for your memories, hope they last. If it's not a fun day, won't you join me Shifty Sunday? Shifty Sunday for Emmys. Shifty Sunday, if you please.
Well, hello, everybody. Hebrew77 here. And welcome to another edition of Shifty Sunday. But wait a minute, what's going on here? What have I shifted? Where am I? I think I'm in a different reality. This is not my channel. What happened? Armor? What are you? I'm on your channel. How'd this happen?
I had to hijack the show, brother. It's Shifty Sunday time.
Well, wow. So I feel very shifty tonight. How about you guys?
I'm feeling extra shifty.
Then I'm triple shifty.
Well, this is the shiftiest shifty ever.
That's a whole lot of shifting going on.
Well, I'll tell you guys, even though it's Armor's channel, I guess I can welcome everybody to Shifty Sunday. We've got Armor Up, Raven, and of course, Sagitarically Speaking, which we had a good show last night. I think, although we did have a very unusual guest on the show last night, don't you think so?
Yeah, I would say he was slightly unusual. Mr. Superman's boots, or whatever he calls himself.
I think he's Macho Man's clone, or else his little brother, Nacho Macho.
Yeah, Nacho Man. That's who it was.
Nacho Macho. Maybe he's the one that makes the chips.
Let me give this room a shout out since we're over here at my channel, and that's what I do best. We got Dave East, first one in the house. Always good to see Dave. Pre-La Minimal in the house. And Lorraine Lamore, of course, our theme song creator. Thank you, Lorraine. Exo Sally. Mystery Fried. Awesome Mystery Fried in the house. Tobin Schwing. I think that's everybody. If you pop in, I'll holler you out. Carry on, brother.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I had something I was going to talk about tonight, but I think I'll do it in a video. I had some Mandela effects I was going to talk about, but I'll make a video about it instead. But I do got to say, Superman boots. I think you hurt his feelings a little bit, man.
Why is that?
He was like, man, Saji was really grilling me. He was telling me like, it's like he's asking him all kinds of personal questions and telling him that he was shiftier than the rest of us. And
on like a talk show like this, on a whatever you call this madness we call Shifty Sunday, on this type of show, you sort of ask questions to the guest. That's sort of what happened.
Well, I guess so. But he said he was kind of harsh on him, though. Oh, he was accusing him of eating that pizza that he delivered. He said, man, that was like a personal Mandela effect for me.
I mean, come on. A personal Mandela effect or a good meal. I mean, I see where Saji was coming from. You got to look at where the evidence leads. But I admit he was sort of grilling him pretty good. I was sort of surprised at the grilling he received. I will admit.
Yeah.
I was just looking out for you and your best interests. I thought he was kind of skep. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you told us you didn't vet him, so yeah, we were worried about you. And I'm glad Saji manned up and went in so I could stay on the train and just watch it wreck from the piece of the car.
I'll tell you what, though, man. I watched that show about 3 times last night, and I split a gut laughing at that. To be honest with you, if we're being honest here.
Oh, I didn't know he was going to be honest. All right, let me change my tactic. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, I didn't know we had an honest show going on here.
Oh yeah. How do you
Well,
schedule it?
I mean, technically, I think we're always pretty honest. I mean, really. Sad, just saying.
We're not always right, but at least we're honest in what we think. I'll give us that.
This is unreal. How does this even work?
We missed you a little bit there. You're having some internet issues, I think. Good to see you back.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely, Raven.
Oh, I wasn't having internet issues. I was having personal issues.
Oh, well. Hopefully they're all better. Definitely keeping you in the prayers.
Yeah, some of it.
Well, you found yourself here this week, and we're just glad to have you.
Thanks, guys. Glad to be back.
Absolutely. I know the crowd's happy to see you because I'm sure they get tired of us three. Well, maybe at least Hebrew and me. I don't know about Saji. He's a pretty interesting fella.
I think we all of us compliment each other well, and I mean that sincerely.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun. That's what it's all about. If you can't have some fun, well, heck, you might as well punt because there ain't a whole lot else out there.
I listened to bits and pieces of your show with on Scare Performance last night. You guys had some interesting calls.
Yeah, that was a pretty good show. Interesting show for sure. Great calls as always. No doubt. Yeah, I got a little bit fired up there a little bit when the one guy was bringing scripture. If you're going to bring scripture into it, like I said on that show, be prepared to back it up.
Exactly. Yeah, don't just kind of half bring it. Be prepared, right?
Yeah, because I might have to just tell you my thoughts. Not saying I'm right, you're wrong, anything like that. But if I have a different perspective, I like to share it, especially if it comes to scriptures, because it's sort of important to me. But like I told Dan, I wish I could have did it while we were still on the phone, because I don't like talking when people ain't there. You know what I mean? But yeah, I had to say something.
He wasn't even giving you a second to speak, though.
No, we tried. Even Dan tried. Finally, I was just, all right, cool, I'll just wait. But yeah, I just had to correct a few scriptural differences of opinions that I had, because I thought that's sort of pretty major to me, And again, I'm not saying I'm right, he's wrong, Take it to the Spirit and let it talk to you. But sometimes I just got to say something. Yeah, and like I said, I like the guy. He said something in the first call where he was going real fast that I even told Dan, and I think I even mentioned to the Hebrew maybe behind the scenes. I know me and Dan talked about it, but he said something I found very, very interesting that I haven't heard, because most of the stuff he was spewing, we've all heard. I mean, at least I have. People just researched, just like Dan. He was saying about the concentration camps and the guillotines. Yes, that was Jade Helm back in whatever year. We heard all that. And, it was basically like a who's who of the conspiracy theories all rolled into a giant egg roll. But he said something the first time that I caught as fast as he is going that really intrigued me. So I don't think the guy's totally, don't have any good information to share. It's just that the scripture things I had to correct a little bit. I really like the guy, and I'd love to talk to him a little more, slower, in depth, on an even plane where we can communicate and ask questions back and forth, not just, okay, go. What I mean? But yeah.
I think a lot of times with these callers, they have like I hear it sometimes, not just on dance channels, but on other call-in shows I listen to as well. They've got so much they're trying to squeeze into one call that they're trying to make so many points and they're so it's just they're feeling like they're under the gun, so they feel like they got to like say it all, like just kind of spew it all out at once, and it doesn't flow as well when you try to present information that way. And they're a little bit nervous probably, and they're not used to being on the air. So I think all that combined, it just kind of they're just got a one track mind, and that's to get what they have to say out more than it is them willing to have a discussion. They're just wanting to say what they called in to say before they run out of time. I think it's more of a case of that than it is anything else.
Yeah, and I see why, because a lot of the other channels. I mean, Dan's very patient. That's what I like about him. Hey, we got Anton and Groot in the house. My brother Groot. Awesome to see Groot and Anton in the house. Welcome, used to. But yeah, and that's exactly what I think it is. But he's got to realize, and that's why, like I told Dan, he'd be better as a guest type person. Then you're going to have an hour or two whole show. Even though Dan will give you plenty of time on the phone, if you just even like that, he give him a lot of time. But yeah, you ain't got to rush when you go into Dan's show, or this one for that matter. Mainly because we don't even get too many callers. But even on Dan's show, he gives his callers lots of time, which is good. And same way here, if you go in, don't feel rushed. We like to talk. We like to give and take, not just. But yeah, I know what you mean. A lot of channels are less friendly, and as soon as they start going that fast, they'll cut them off or start talking bad. And we can't talk bad about anyone. Just if you have a difference of opinion, state yours. But that don't mean you can't still talk to somebody. I mean, you guys would not believe how much me and Dan disagree when it comes to the Mandela stuff. And he'll tell you, we don't agree, like probably maybe 60% of the stuff, maybe. That's probably a high-end estimate. But, you know what I mean? Me and Dan still talk. It's just crazy. Just because you don't agree on something don't mean you can't talk to people. That's a big problem with what's going on now.
It's actually better to do something with a differing opinion, because if everybody's hive mind and all in line with each other, that's not interesting to listen to, for one, and you don't get you don't gain anything from that. You gain things from different perspectives. That's how you get a better insight and a better understanding as a viewer or as a listener, is hearing everybody's opinion, no matter what it is, and then applying it all and deciding for yourself what resonates with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you never hear nothing new, how are you ever going to grow and learn, like you're saying? And you don't got to worry about. Take it to the spirit. Whatever you hear, just take it to the spirit. It'll tell you real quick whether it's a truth or a lie. It's simple, but don't be afraid to listen to anything or anyone, or read anything or anyone, or, don't let people tell you, oh, you shouldn't do that or shouldn't do this. The spirit will tell you what you should and shouldn't do. There might be a lesson for you to learn in something that someone might think you shouldn't do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I don't just mean this applying it to the Mandela Effect or to even the what we're discussing, but I can think of so many times, like it's not just in the past few years, but throughout my whole adult life, really, where I've contemplated a moral dilemma or a situation where I knew I had to make a decision going against my better interest versus, a collective better interest, and just general moral dilemmas where, I feel like on one hand it's the right thing to do for these reasons, but on the other hand, not so much for these other reasons. And like you said, take it to the spirit. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've not only done that, but sought advice from like my mom or somebody that a third party that isn't involved in the situation. It just seems like more and more as you get older and you grow wiser. You think you've got all this life stuff figured out, and then as soon as you think you do, you get a curveball you never seen before.
Yep, that's true. And like Groot said, I agree. Talking verbally outside of chat helps sift the wheat. Absolutely. And you definitely need discernment, as Groot says. And trust me, I'm not saying a do as thou wilt type of thing when I said, don't be afraid to read things and do things just because someone says you shouldn't. Because I might get accused of that because they like to say I'm a Satanist sometimes. But
really? I never heard that before.
Nah. I'm saying do what the Spirit will. That's the difference. Don't be afraid to try things if the Spirit's leading you that way, just because man might tell you, oh, well, you shouldn't do that. That's from the devil.
Yeah, like in an Adam Sandler movie where football is the devil.
Yeah, football is the devil.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to our host. He ain't back in the.
I know. He's kind of like in and out.
Yeah.
His mic sounded funny too. Did you guys notice that? He kind of sounded like he was coming from like 1942 or something like that.
I don't know. It didn't sound real bad on my end.
Maybe he shifted completely out of time.
Yeah, maybe he went to a reality where Shifty Sunday doesn't exist. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess we'll just have to wait to see if he pops in. I guess you can see the backstage to let him in when he arrives, huh?
Yeah, I'm watching the green room or blue room, whatever they call it. Very true, Exo Sally. If you follow man, you'll be let down for sure every time. Hey, and I want to say a shout out to JM. They popped in while we was rattling on. So,
all right.
JM, always great to see him. Tell your buddy Greg I said howdy. I haven't talked to him in a while. I sent him a message in Hangouts about I finished his Revelation thing, and definitely interesting. So yeah, tell him I said hi and looking forward to communicating with him, JM.
All right. Well, does anybody have anything they wanted that they wanted to bring up or discuss or share or anything of that nature?
Hey, Gem on Rye in the house. I love saying Gem on Rye. I don't know. I mean, and Groot said he fell in a wormhole. That's probably what happened, though, in Hebrew. It'd be a wormhole. Hopefully, he'll pop back in. Saji, have you checked your bathroom? He didn't.
There hasn't been much activity lately, but I guess it wouldn't hurt to go in there and turn the light on just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, heck, you might be in there in the dark, scared, curled up in the fetal position.
Yeah, trying to learn how to play the harmonica or something.
You two are going to be in so much trouble. You know this, right?
Nah, he's used to it. Oh, brother Gorgon 2 feet in the house. Oh, yeah. Now we'll be full of scripture. That's what I'm talking about. Great to see you, brother. On the cold towel floor.
Well, I just checked the bathroom. He's not in here.
Well, hopefully he'll shift back in.
So I got a question for you. Speaking of scripture and I really I don't really have anything prepared or anything, but I'm sure you'll be able to pick up on what I'm talking about because I'm sure you've heard this theory before. But it seems like every year around Christmas time, these videos start popping up about the origins of Santa Claus and the origins of just the Christianity religion in general and all these things. And I had a couple videos pop up on my stream where they're trying to make the argument that all the people, like a lot of the stories that are in the Bible are kind of mirror or closely resemble those stories, of other religions, and a lot of these are based off of a lot of these stories and characters and I guess parables or what, I don't know all the words I'm trying to say, but make a long story short, that they're based off of um, the constellations and stars and like for instance the one video I saw made the comparison of Jesus of Jesus when he with his birthday and when he passes and how he goes away for 3 days and then comes back that could be that you can literally take that as it's metaphorically describing what happens with the sun during the winter solstice when it falls to its lowest point and in certain areas of the world you actually may not even see the sun for those 3 days when it's at its lowest point and then it rises again after the winter solstice. And I just want to know, like, what are your what do you how much of that do you think there's relevance, that there's some truth behind it, and how much of it do you think is just people trying to make a mockery or just kind of make some type of YouTube video to gain interest, or what kind of agenda do you think is behind that kind of philosophy?
You mean basically how a lot of the scriptures they say line up to a lot of older text, like Babylonian stuff and Greek and gods and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
All right. Well, Raven, would you want to go first?
I can try. Well,
There's no one answer. It's just opinion.
right. It just makes me question which came first, the Gospels of the Bible or all of this other, So, I mean, I've heard that, his disciples, having 12 disciples is the same as having, the 12 signs of the zodiac. I've heard that kind of stuff before. There's also the information out there that when you're getting ready to switch from it's not the crescent. Anyhow, one moon phase into either the new moon or from another phase into the full moon. There's like 3 days that you have where there's, almost no moon, then a full moon, and then it starts on the other side to becoming less than a full moon. And it does the same thing with the new moon, where you have just a tiny sliver, then no moon, and then another sliver again. So I've heard that before as well as being a symbol for why the Bible says that Christ died and rose, after the 3 days. So I just don't know. I mean, I don't know which one came first, the scriptures or all of that nonsense.
Yeah, and I mean, if you go by what we're told, then the Babylonian text, what other ones am I trying to think of? There's lots of other old texts that supposedly, by what we're told, predate the timeline of the scriptures, as far as the earliest books they could find, things like that.
Yeah, the Sumerian texts. The Sumerian texts are another one.
Right, Sumerian. There you go. Groot just said that also. Sumerian text, the Emerald tablets. I mean, there's lots of things out there older than our earliest known copy of the scriptures, which I think, as Tobin said, the Dead Sea Scrolls, I might be mistaken, but I think they're the earliest writing of Isaiah and a couple of the other ones, but I'm not sure. Either way, supposedly and I believe those texts are earlier than the Bible. Now, the answer I would give is probably way different than the answer most people will give, because of what I already think about the Old Testament and what's happening there. But it sort of helps to, it was one of the things that helped me to come to believe what I believe. Because first of all, it isn't too hard to realize that these other gods, these Zeus and all these other things, all these other gods, you know, Aphrodite, whether it's Greek, Roman, Sumerian, Egyptian, whatever, they all had their other gods, all by different names. You know what I mean? You got Osiris, you got so many, you know what I mean? Shiva and Kali and all of it, all the other gods. I think if we look at the Tower of Babel, all right, let's start there. The Tower of Babel is when supposedly, well, not supposedly, is when Yahweh, according to the book we got, according to the Bible. Oh, okay. Hebrew said something, threw me off there. According to what we got, he separated. That's when basically we got nations, different tongues, different tribes, different types of people. It's basically when we got separated into nations. And it says in there that he separated them according to the sons of God. So basically, he put angels in charge of these nations, and he kept Israel for himself. That's in the Bible. That's what we're taught. That's what most of us believe, especially as Christians or Hebrews for that matter. And he kept them for himself. Now the other ones were supposed to teach the people and lead them to Yahweh. They were supposed to be good. You know what I mean? They were supposed to do the right thing. Unfortunately, they sort of liked the people worshiping them. So they set themselves all up as sort of to be worshiped instead of pointing them to Yahweh. Now, these are just theories that I heard, but they make a lot of sense. We know he separated the nations according to the sons of God. And we know the nations didn't do what they were supposed to do according to the Bible we got. They were like pretty bad. Only the Hebrews were the good people, according to the Bible we got. The rest were all bad. Well, they were under control of angels. So obviously the angels must have been bad that were controlling them. And we know these things are sort of true. If we look at Daniel, I think it's Daniel. Pretty sure. I don't know. If we look at the one that's praying and waiting for an answer, and it takes the angel a while to come to him. And when the angel gets there, he says to him, well, Father, you know, God heard you right away. It just took me a while to get here because I had to battle the Prince of Persia. And I'd probably still be battling, but Michael came in, helped me out. He's taking care of him. I got through. I brought you the message. I got to get going, though, because the Prince of Greece is supposed to join. And I got to get back to Michael so we can take care of him. So right there, we're shown that there's something called a Prince of Persia and a Prince of Greece that obviously are battling the good angels, Gabriel and Michael. Those were the angels that were put in charge of Persia and Greece, just like it says at the Tower of Babel. Now, like I said, this is all just my opinion, things that I've seen from my research. So I think, all right, this might get me in trouble, but it ain't like I ain't got the video out there already telling you what I think about the Old Testament guy.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to set you up to go there. To be honest, I really wasn't. You're doing this on your own, sir.
Well, yeah, but with this question, you can't not go there. I can't honestly answer this question about what I think about the other
I
gods.
want you to know that wasn't my intention, though.
Well, I know, but basically the book we got, at least the Old Testament part, and anyone that reads it would have to admit to this, is a book written from the perspective of a Hebrew. Okay? So, of course, by their perspective, their God's the right God. This is what he wants. But their God is just like every other God of that time. They want sacrifice. They want worship. They want... So, and that's why they're history lines up so well with the other older texts because that's what people believed the gods were. That was sort of embedded into their psyche. So that's what they expected their God to be. Just like the rest of the gods, mighty in war and conquering.
Right. It was basically like the blueprint for how you build a god, so to speak.
Sort of, basically. It was the common perception of a god. Probably because these bad gods, in my opinion, were doing that. You know, the Prince of Persia, the Prince of Greece, Zeus, whatever you want to call them by their names. They got many, many, many names over the time. You know what I mean? Different people worship them. They give them a different name. But they're still, it ain't like they're abundant. They're still the same little group of gods, little g, angels, that didn't do what they were supposed to do. They let people call them whatever they want. They'll give them different names. Egypt calls them this, you know. Samaria calls them this. The tablets of Thoth call them this. You got Enko, you got Enlil, you got all these names for all these things that I think were real. But, so yeah, that's basically would be my answer in a nutshell. I think they were real. I think they're talked about in the Bible. I mean, there's no doubt. There's at least Persian Greek.
If I'm understanding you correctly, it's basically this. It's not that there's, even though there's slight variations and different versions of the stories match up enough that they all pretty much are trying to tell you the same thing. I mean, the message is pretty much the same no matter which one you go to, and it's it's good versus evil. I mean, bottom line, that's what it boils down to, right?
Well, yeah, that, and it's our God's right and your God's wrong. And that was, and I definitely want to add this. That's the whole point of what Jesus did. That's the whole point of why he came. To save us, to teach everybody. I mean, he straight out told them in their own book, and it's in the video, you know, that I did. You're worshiping the wrong guy. Your father's the devil. You're just like everybody else. I mean, that was the whole point of Jesus coming, because everyone in the world at that time, everyone, there was no special people, although we have books that written by people who say they're special people. If you're Greek, that's a Greek book. If you're Roman, it's a Roman book. If you're Hebrew, it's a Hebrew book. All their gods, they were the special people to their gods. But Jesus came to say, no, that's not the real Father. They're two whole different people. That's why he came, to explain to the world that everybody's got it wrong. There's only one way. And I'm going to show you the way. This is the way. This is the only way. Period. There is no other way. He makes it quite clear. And he's especially talking to the Hebrews of the time because that's the land he's born in. But he's talking to the whole world. As we see now, he spoke to the whole world. It started with the Hebrews, but it was all of them. They were all worshiping wrong gods. They were all doing bad things. They all thought they were worshiping the right thing according to them. But no, Jesus says, no, you're not. God doesn't hate. God doesn't do war this way. He flat out said, this is not what the Father does. They all think of Father in this warlike God, just like they always did. And they're all falling right back into the same trap. They're still waiting on Jesus to come back with a flaming sword. I mean, yet they'll sit there and say he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. I don't get it. I don't understand the reasoning. I used to think that way, but how the Father isn't the author of confusion. It's simple. He meant what he said. Jesus meant everything he said. You see me, you seen the Father. We don't change, ever. If our kingdom was this world, we'd fight for it. We'd use swords and stuff, but that ain't how we fight. That ain't how our kingdom wins. Our kingdom wins with love and grace and mercy. Period. It kills evil every time. It's over. The minute we can figure it out and start doing it, it's over. There's no big battle. No, that's what the enemy wants you to think. And unfortunately, everybody thinks it. Everyone's looking for the signs. It's an evil generation that looks for a sign, Jesus said. Yeah, he said, be awake, pay attention. And that's what he's talking about. Be awake, pay attention. Don't fall back into worshiping the wrong gods again. Worship the real one, the Father. It's the only one. Follow Jesus. That's it. There's no other way to do it.
I'm with you on that. And you know how we always are talking about like synchronicities, things that happen or, you know, kind of come to light, bring themselves to light to you at a certain time. And one of the things that happened, one of the things that recently has happened with me is like I'm dealing with a thing with my dad right now. His health is poor. And he is he is an alcoholic, and he's telling me how, you know, his health is failing, how he's probably not going to you know, probably make, you know, this past Christmas may possibly be the last Christmas he's here with us, you know, to share. And he's being a little melodramatic about it. And you know, I know when you get up there and you're drinking, you get up there in age and you're drinking, you tend, you know, and you got a little alcohol in you, you're known to be that way a little bit. But when I want to talk to him about it, on one hand, I want to be tough on him. I don't necessarily, I'm not trying to call him out, but at the same time, I'm trying to call him out and remind him that, hey, you know, you're throwing yourself this big pity party about how you might not be around much longer, but you can really probably turn things around if you just quit drinking. I'm sure that the doctors have given you a prognosis on how long you'll live if you keep drinking and how well you could do if you quit drinking. And a lot of the issues, the health issues you're having are a direct result of the fact that you won't quit drinking. And of course, he doesn't want to hear that, you know, and it's almost like I'm just talking through him because his ears just aren't listening to that message. And I guess what how that relates is what I'm trying to get at is, so I flipped it on him, and I just tried to express to him that instead of being combative with him about the situation, I decided just to be, you know, to open up and show him and express to him how much I care about him and how much I actually want, you know, would love to see him live longer, and you know how much love I have for him, and when I went that direction with trying to get through to him, it seemed to have much better results. Now, how long those results are going to last and how effective it's actually going to be is yet to be determined. But I found that through being harsh with him, I wasn't getting anywhere with him. It was actually probably making the situation worse. But then when I, you know, approached him with the love message and the caring version, it seemed like he was able to break through his mental barriers that he had built as far as being able to listen to me. Does that make any sense?
Yep, absolutely. And unfortunately, I know what you mean. I've had friends that, you know, go through the same thing.
And then last night I was watching a movie. It's called The Report. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it's basically it's about the CIA in the 90s when we were going through when 9/11 had first happened, and we had different terrorists in Guantanamo Bay, and it was over the practice of torture and waterboarding and things of that nature. Of course, they denied that they were doing it publicly, but everybody knew that they were really doing it. And then a report finally came out proving not only that they were doing it, but it also illustrated that not once did they actually gain any inside information from the torture that they were doing to the particular terrorists. That not one single waterboarding, not one single torture, physical torture ever resulted in any good information on capturing or succeeding in getting any future plans out of them or anything like that. All they ever got out of this so-called torture was what the people actually wanted. What the people who were being tortured thought they wanted to hear. They would just say whatever it was they needed to say to get them to stop torturing them. But when they had other psychiatrists or whatever come in and actually do a psychological approach of taking the time to get to know them and using some form of compassion and relating to them and saying, I understand that you were doing what you thought was right based on the situation that you were in. So we're not holding you, we will make some type of deal with you if you just give us, information. We'll make sure that your family's safe and blah, blah, blah. And when they would do that kind of approach, they actually sometimes would get some information that was relevant or, that would actually help prevent some type of future terrorist attack. And I honestly believe that there's a lot of truth to that. And I realize this is just a Hollywood movie, and I realize that it's got its own agenda, and I realize that you got to apply multi levels of discernment and trying to decipher all that information. But I do believe that anytime you got somebody in that kind of a situation, you're going to get much better results from positive affluence than you are going to get from just torturing them and waterboarding them. I mean, I know you guys probably have your own opinions on that, and I love to hear them. But that was just another thing that I thought of when you were saying that earlier.
I was waiting to see if anybody else wanted to talk.
Yeah, but does that make sense what I was saying? I mean, am I being too off the wall there?
No, I mean, it's, like an old saying we got around here, you'll get more flies with honey than vinegar. Yeah, vinegar. That'll clean it up.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, I mean, let's hear from Raven or Hebrew. Hebrew, are you back?
They're both here, but they're both muted.
I was just muted to wait till everybody else was done talking.
Well, let's hear what you have to say, Raven. Do you have any thoughts on the subject?
Well, I don't think anybody ever gets what they really want if they're torturing somebody, because like you said, they'll tell you whatever it is they want you to, that they think you want to hear, so the torturing stops. And yes, we do have that Southern saying, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. That's pretty much all I've got to say about it. Sorry,
right, guys. Hey, Hebrew, are you around? Are you okay? Have you shifted back to another reality?
Well, hey, let me holler out. Groot's got to take off. Yes, definitely want to chat sometime, brother. Hit me up in Hangouts. You know that. Always welcome. I don't know if I got to mention Lothar 900. He popped in. Father's blessings to you too, brother. And Rosa A popped in the house while we were yakking. So I don't want to miss anyone. I like to shout them out when they pop in. But yeah, I don't know what happened to Hebrew. Where you at, brother?
I just want you guys to know, this is kind of cool, by the way. I'm running some sort of an experiment on OBS, and this has become the first ever simulcast, I believe they call it simulcast broadcast. We're broadcasting over here on your channel, Mr. Armor Up, and everyone is hearing everything that you guys are saying over on my channel.
So cool. You figured out how to do the live with the OBS.
Yeah. So, do we have people in your channel listening as well?
Well, let me see. Jenny Perte was in there a while ago. Michael Fontaine is in there. Let's see here.
Well, you're going to have to do the shout outs for that channel then, because I can't see them. So give your room a shout out.
Well, I just did, sir.
Oh, okay. So you got off easy. Well, welcome, Jenny and Michael Fontaine.
So, I'm sure I don't. With the Mandela effect, there's so many things that sometimes have been covered before, and even though it's maybe an old thing that some people have seen before, I believe there's still people who may have just recently signed on or may have missed something that from a while back. Myself being the case, I put a video in Shifty Sunday. One of the last things I entered in there, Armor, was it's a short clip from a Twilight Zone season 4, I believe, episode 11 called "The Parallel," and it's just a minute long little clip of him describing the Mandela effect long before the Mandela effect ever existed, because this is back when television was still black and white. Yeah, I didn't know how you would feel about maybe sharing it or playing it. I didn't know if you were for that or against it.
Yeah, I'll play the clip. I ain't worried about any of that stuff.
All right.
But yeah, and that's pretty strange in itself. Me and Dan's talked about it when a bunch of us for a while. I mean, probably a few years ago, it was brought to my attention, and it sort of blew me away because I've watched Twilight Zone many times. I mean, they used to run a Twilight Zone marathon New Year's Eve on Sci-Fi Channel like every year.
I've watched that marathon a few times.
And over. I mean, for decades. And I never remembered this episode of Twilight Zone. When Dan was telling me about it, I said, "What?" And I went and looked it up, and there it was. And I downloaded it, and yeah, it's so this whole episode is strange to me because I sure don't remember it. But let me grab
Somebody is munching on their mic. They need to mute up.
Oh, sorry about that.
Someone's chowing.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm eating these Fritos. I'll shut up.
All right, let me see. Share screen.
I was just going to say, I bet it's Hebrew, because he always talks about needing to snack.
Yeah. He is I figured it was probably him as well. This is really weird. I just saw this for the first time like a half hour ago.
All right, I'm going to hit, whoops, I got it muted. Hold on. Let me stop it. Back it up. Unmute it. Let's try this again.
President of an airlines company. I've got dozens of items like that. Men talked about who never existed. Men who existed and not even mentioned. Historical events that I know happened a certain way. Somehow, according to the encyclopedia, didn't happen or happened another way. The things I remember are not delusions. They're the legitimate recollections of things as I remember them. But somehow, some way, this world seems to have turned upside down for me. Well, not in every way, you understand. By and large, the people are the same. The names, the streets, the mutual recollections we all have of people and events. It's as if there were another world parallel to mine. As if this world were almost a twin, except for some minor differences that happened somewhere along the line of evolution.
Bob, for the love of heaven.
All right, there you go. Hopefully you guys could hear it. Yeah, that's pretty strange. And I like how they make sure they mention evolution and they get all the key points in there.
Yeah, they sure do, don't they?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? Anybody?
What was
Yeah,
the
I gotta
year
tell
on
you, man.
that?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just asking, what was the year on that Twilight episode?
1957.
Wow. Go ahead, Hebrew.
Oh, no, I wasn't. I was just guessing. And I was going to say, man, that really does make you think about what's going on now with the Mandela Effect. And we were talking about that movie yesterday. We're talking about how it kind of touches up on what would happen if something happened in your life, like he gets hit by a bus. And I know a lot of people, I know that's just a movie, but I know a lot of people.
When he says that movie yesterday, he means the movie titled Yesterday, by the way.
I think they get it, man.
All right. Well, it took me a second, but I'm with you.
Okay. No, but he gets hit by a bus. And I know, like I said, I know that's just a movie, but every one of us in the Mandela Effect community has similar situations happen to us where we either got hit by a car, or we were in a terrible wreck of some kind, or had some sort of brush with death of some kind. And it seems like that seems to be for a lot. I'm not saying everybody in the Mandela Effect community, but it seems to be a lot of us.
And even if it's not near death, it's some type of crisis happened in your life. I'll go with you with the crisis as far as some major life change happened that was a major setback for you.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems like, I mean, you if you look at Suso and other people in the community, Suso's got the most compelling story about how he got, he should have been dead 3 times over. And I've got similar stories, and I'm sure you do too, Sagittarically speaking. Armor Up and Raven. I know Armor Up. Wait, Armor Up, nothing happened to you, did it?
Well, I was in a major wreck in a tow truck. We flipped over a big bank and came out without a scratch. I ended up wrapping a blanket that was on the seat, but
okay.
I don't feel that I don't know. I guess you consider that maybe near dying, but I don't know. It was a heck of a ride. But no, I don't feel that. Hey, I just want to say howdy to Burgos. He popped in. Don't want to miss anyone.
Oh, cool.
And Michael Fontaine joined our channel. Welcome, Michael. He's sonically ambidextrous. He's listening to both channels.
Oh, cool.
You can get in stereo.
Well, I got to tell you, I thought it was a pretty cool idea. I'm like, I'm going to test this thing out and see what happens. That's where I went. But I was like, you know what? I think we could do it. We could do just voices. Like, it wouldn't necessarily, it won't be as good as what we're doing now. But I think I could figure out a way, like next week, next year actually, that we can do broadcasts on there from now on. Do you know if there is a way to do that, sir?
Yeah, there is, but it takes a while I have to even see if I remember how to. I mean, mine's set up, so I got to do is click a button, but I got to see if I can remember how I set it up to teach you how to set it up.
Okay.
OBS is awesome, but there's a lot of little settings you got to set up right, and to be able to share the screen, and because you're basically what you do is you end up sharing your Hangout screen, and then we'll be using Hangouts again. And yeah, that's basically how you do it. And you have to link it to YouTube, so YouTube knows that you're going to stream from it, and which you obviously already got that part done if you're streaming on YouTube. You just don't have the video set up.
Thank you, Burgos. He said he subbed to me. That's cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, I think Michelle uses OBS to do her live streams.
Yeah, she could probably help you out a lot more than me, because I messed with it a couple years ago, and like I said, mine's set up. I can use it, but I don't remember how I set it up. You see what I'm saying? I'm sure I could figure it out. I could go look at my settings, but Michelle uses it all the time. she'd be able to probably walk you right through it.
Cool. So I don't really have anything good to talk about. I'm going to make a video of it, but I did send some stuff in Shifty Sunday, some pictures and stuff that is about wrestling. I noticed not a whole lot of Mandela Effect channels cover the wrestling Mandela Effects. So I thought I'd make a few videos and start covering wrestling Mandela Effects. What do you think about that? Do you know of anyone that covers wrestling? Anybody?
Well, I have an uncle who is a wrestler. He covers it all the time. He's got a channel dedicated to it. Oh no, wait, you're talking about wrestling? Like professional wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. No, I don't know anybody that does that.
Well, I thought maybe your uncle was secretly Nacho Libre.
No, I just thought that would be a funny thing to say. But you did have something you wanted to you were going to talk about, though, about the guy getting thrown through the window or something. What about that one? You still going to bring that one up, right?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. I'm still going to make a video of it, though. But I want to ask everyone out there, in our audience, this too. There was a famous tag team back in the 80s, early 80s, late 90s, or early 80s, early 90s. And they were called the Rockers. Does anyone on the panel remember the Rockers, the tag team from the 80s?
No, but if they were a tag team back in the 80s, I bet you that they're both chilling in some rockers right now.
Right. A tag team from the 80s in their 80s. No, I know at least one of them is chilling in a rocker, or at least he's doing other stuff. But anyway, the Rockers is the tag team that Shawn Michaels got his start. You know Shawn Michaels, don't you?
Yeah, that name rings a bell.
Well, this goes all the way back to when Shawn Michaels first got his start. So I'll tell that story. So him and Marty Jannetty were on the tag team, the Rockers, and they were on it for years, and they were, they were good guys for people that don't know. And so they started having some problems. So they decided to go on a little wrestling talk shows called The Barbershop. And the Barbershop, for those of you that don't know, was a little segment on the wrestling show that was run by Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And anyway, to make the long story short,
can I interject? I'm just curious. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, you said, right?
Yeah.
Now I know how all these wrestlers back then had signature moves, especially like finishing moves and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What was Brutus the Barber's? Did he do something with the? What was his specialty move?
Sleeper hold.
Oh, okay.
He would put people in the sleeper hold, and then he'd cut their hair.
I bet people hated losing to him.
Oh yeah, man. There's actually been a few haircutting matches if you want to look it up on YouTube. But to make the long story short, he had like it was set up like a barbershop window, and then it had the barbershop pose, and you know how the barbershop. I don't have to explain how a barbershop looks like, but anyway, so what happened was he tried to make it look like everything was okay. Like he's like, yeah, we're okay, brother. He shook his hand. They raised his hand. He's like, yeah, we're still a team, and blah blah blah. And then he turns around and kicks him. He does his signature move, which wasn't his signature move at the time, but it became his signature move after they split up. Is called the sweet chin music. So he gives him sweet chin music. And in my reality, what I remember is I remember him going through the window after doing the sweet chin music. But now he doesn't put him through the window. He does the sweet chin music, and then Marty Jannetty falls to the ground, and then he picks him up and throws him through the window. So it's a lot different now. And if you go and check it out, you'll see. I sent some videos there in Shifty Sunday. I don't know if you can. WWE tends to shut things down pretty quick, so I don't know if you could share those or not. But I'm sure if you did it like with the sound off, maybe we could do it.
I don't see the videos.
Oh,
I saw where you had pictures you shared, but I didn't see any videos, bro.
okay. Can we share the pictures?
They're pretty far up there, Armor. You can't miss them, though. They're wrestling pics.
I think there's.
Well, I'm clean up past the guitar from the other night. Are they way up above that?
No, it would be below the guitar, but above the VW stuff that I put on there.
Oh, wait, there's an image link. That must be it. Oh, I'll open it up.
The one won't open unless you copy all the text. I clicked on it and it wouldn't work without all the text.
Oh,
Well,
man. Okay.
This should show what he's. Let me back to the other window here. Is that the one you're talking about?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the actual scene from the barbershop, right?
Yes. That's what I was talking about. Now, if you look here real closely, you can tell that they're far away from the window, like far enough away. But it seems like if he kicked him at that distance, like obviously it's a fake kick, but I mean, like, you know, they're trying to make it look real as possible. So you think a kick from that distance wouldn't just knock the guy down. It would push him back some.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can tell he don't really got the angle to go through the window from that kick.
Right.
I just want to Dean Johnson, Edward DeSoto, and Decoding Perception of Reality. They snuck in on.
But there's a lot of people that do remember it that way. That do remember it. Uh-oh. We lost our host.
I see that. Yeah, I think he got kicked through the window.
Right? But
Those have to be the loudest chips ever.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Again, I do apologize. I can't mute it on my channel, but you guys, hold on.
So versus staying on the show, he just mutes up so he can eat more chips. Even and I guess that's logical.
He really likes those snacks.
Yeah, I would say. Talking about nacho macho.
So I can't see the chat. Is anyone in chat saying anything about remember? I think Burgo said that he's seen it.
Gordon said, only the citizens of Babylon would watch this. I mean wrestling, not this channel. Thank you, Gordon. Yeah, I hit the wrong button. I was gone for a minute.
Well, I thought you got kicked through the window.
Yeah, I must have got the sweet baby teeth or whatever you called it.
Well, I mean, the only other thing I thought maybe, I don't know, do you have any good news, Armor?
Oh, I do got my good news ready, of course, yes.
If you wanted to do that here in just a minute, I'll go ahead and, since we're talking about Mandela effects, I'll go ahead and talk about this last one that I had, and then you can do that. Then we can open the phone lines if you want.
Sounds like a winner to me.
Cool.
And again, this is just again, I'm going to put this disclaimer out here that I know that this is a well-known Mandela Effect. I know that it's been covered. It's probably about 3 years old. In doing the research for it, I saw where even Moneybags had made a video about it about 3 years ago. You had just recently told me, Armor, that Dan's covered it at least once, if not a couple times. But I put in some screenshots. I don't know if you can put them on the screen. Kind of put them in the order that I shared them in, if you can, and then I'll basically tell you. We were talking last night about the Back to the Future. I don't know if you've ever typed in YouTube Back to the Future Mandela Effects, but that series of movies seems to have quite a collection. One could even make the argument that there's probably more Mandela effects associated with that particular series of movies than any other. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'd say it would be a safe bet to make. And the one that I'm referring to today is about the van. There's the one that the terrorists are in, that the professor got the plutonium from. Before he brings up any images, I'd like for people in chat to maybe say what van they remember that being, what kind of van, anything they can remember about the van. It's when he's putting the plutonium in the DeLorean. Then all of a sudden the headlights come on, and there's the Lebanese, I think, terrorists pull up. Do you remember the color of the van, Hebrew?
White.
White, okay. And do you remember maybe like what it looked like, what kind of van it was?
I don't know. Wasn't it a Volkswagen brand?
Well, I mean, it is now. But let's see what chat has to say. Can anybody see chat?
Lothar said it was a blue and white Volkswagen van. So far, he's the only answer.
All right.
Lorraine Lamore says white, taller in the back. So more like the type Volkswagen van, I believe.
Okay. Well, can you bring up the images I shared, Armor?
Yeah, Davey said Volkswagen. Michael Fontaine said, seeing it as it came out, it was a blur Volkswagen bus. All right, I hope I got these in the right order. We'll see. Is that the one you want first?
Yeah, go all the way up to the top. It's about 5 the opposite way.
You don't want that one first? Hold on.
No, definitely not that one first. That's the one that is now. That's the current reality.
All right, let me. Cause see, I opened them up now. I'm not sure what order they're in. So if that one ain't first, this one should be.
Yeah, I don't want any more Volkswagen pictures. I want the opposite.
The opposite. Hold on. I don't.
The other van. Yeah, the residue. I'm looking for the residue pics I shared.
Okay, the only other one I see, I mean, maybe this one. Let me try this one. See if you like this one. I don't know which one you want.
How many is there total?
Oh, there's a pile of these things. Let me try this one.
Okay, here we go. That's what a lot of people remember. A 1984 Toyota van. And if you look there in the description, this is like a listing. It says on there it was like being transported back to the future. You see how they listed that in there? I'll go to any other image that you have of a van like that.
You know, it would have to be a van that can open up at the top, like the top roof.
Yeah, because they were sitting out of the top shooting, right?
They were through the top of the van shooting the machine gun.
Right.
They weren't like outside the door or anything, I don't think.
I agree. That's how I remember it too.
Yeah.
Do you have any more non-Volkswagen van picks?
I got this one showing both.
All right, well, let's just do that one then. Yeah, that's basically the difference right there. The long and the short is a lot of people remember the van on the left, and a lot of people remember the van on the right, which is obviously the current reality when you watch a clip of the movie or whatever. But then go back to and then you notice that's just a picture of a Volkswagen van. That's not an actual scene from the movie. So go to the other one, the one you shared first, please, Armor. The close up.
One with the wheels off the ground.
Possibly. I can't recall.
Oops, that's the one without the wheels off the ground.
All right, that one's good enough. Now, if you zoom in on that one, you'll notice that this is a clip from the movie when one of the first images of the van, you see the VW logo doesn't have a split in the V and the W.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty. I mean, we all pretty much agree on that, right?
Right. I do. I don't know.
I don't see a split there.
But as the scene transpires, the split occurs. Go to the next image.
Huh?
Oh, that was more residue, but that's fine.
Okay. I was saying while I was muted up on this channel, I was saying on my channel, so I'm glad I don't have to do all this.
Again, that's a close up of the VW without the split. You guys still agree, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right, and then the next image should show where you start to see the split, where it starts to show up in the movie. Now notice that there's a split.
I can't really tell.
Oh, I see the split plain as day.
Yeah, same here.
They don't look the same.
Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta zoom in on this or take off my glasses. Oh yeah, right there. I see it. Right there where you had your you had the scroller. Right there.
Right.
Yep.
So I just thought that was interesting how at one point it doesn't, and one point it does. In one scene of now, it's possible that they had two different vans that they were using. I mean, you can't rule out that possibility. I want to mention that, but
you wouldn't have that same logo though.
Right.
I mean, they wouldn't have went in and changed the logo. Is what I'm saying.
Right, but I mean, one van could have had the logo without the split, and the other van could have had the logo with the split. Is what I'm getting at.
Huh.
But either way, it's something to make note of, because the VW logo in itself is a Mandela effect. The van is in a movie called Back to the Future with multiple timelines, and a lot of people remember a Toyota van. There's multiple images of residue I provided, even though we didn't cover them all. There's lots of people listing the Toyota 1984 van as the terrorist van from Back to the Future. A lot of people remember that as the van, and I don't know. It makes you put all that together, and it makes for a really interesting Mandela effect.
That is definitely wild. I never noticed that before. I've seen people covering the fact about the van, but not the actual logo change in the movie. That's very interesting, brother.
Good find, dude.
Well, you're welcome.
Huh?
I said
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Okay.
Residue, including perception of reality, says, wow. Exocell says, yeah, pretty wild. Cool. Well, hey, let Raven or you guys talk a bit. I got to go recycle some coffee, and I'll come back and do some good news
All right, sounds good.
You want us to talk amongst ourselves?
amongst yourselves.
That could be dangerous.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, that van, the movie, and everything in it is Mandela Effect.
Mandela Effect.
What's that?
Oh man, she didn't play. Didn't play along.
Yeah, you're supposed to say Mandela Effect, Raven.
Yeah, that's what.
Oh, Mandela Effect.
Let's try again. Start over.
Okay, let's start over. That's what now, Saji?
You want me to start it?
Is it a Mandela Effect?
Mandela Effect.
Mandela Effect.
Mandela Effect.
Mandela Effect.
You guys are funny.
It's a little shtick that we do that comes from a. Have you seen that video that I did?
His stop motion video with the Mandela family.
Who, me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Have
Oh,
you
I
ever
don't
watched
think
any of
so.
those yet?
I don't think so. Not yet.
Okay.
Well, they're the Hebrew classics. You got to go watch the Mandela families.
Okay, I will.
Mandela family.
Mandela family.
Yeah, you get back to us when you learn how to make an avocado machado.
What was that?
I don't know what me.
It sounded like, hey, you know, you need to say excuse you. You got a lady present here.
This is my it's called a ottoman, and when I push my legs in and out, it squeaks on the floor. Listen.
That's not the sound I heard.
That's what I'm saying. That's not the same sound.
Well,
Heard.
how about that?
Yeah, that was it.
I can only do it. I can only do it once in a while, but like when I want it, it's like the singing frog. When I try to make it do it, it won't. You know.
The truth sets you free says, I'm confused. How is this on two channels at once?
We're shifty.
Yeah, shifty.
No, I'll tell you what. I do like the scrolling. How did you do the scrolling?
You do it in the StreamYards with your banner. You can edit your banner now, and there's a little checkbox to make it scroll.
Cool.
Well, hey, I guess I'll do some good news.
Beep, 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 ding, 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 ding. News coming in from the newsroom. It's Armor Up.
News, good news.
Yeah, that's right. We do need a news theme. You know that?
News theme. And that's the way it was. I could give you a cronkite. Wait, I think that's Mandela Effect now too, Annie. You don't say that anymore or something? I don't know.
Really?
About that. Yeah. That's the way it was. Now he says that's the way it is or something. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, the good news this week, we got a couple stories.
Good news.
Screen share.
Never mind.
Let's see. Which one do I want to start with? Well, let's start with this one. Good news. Just to show you that being kind to other people and doing basically what Jesus told us to do towards each other is so simple, even a 5-year-old could do it. So let's read this one first. This 5-year-old paid off lunch debts for 123 classmates by simply selling cookies and hot cocoa. This 5-year-old girl has succeeded in paying off the outstanding lunch debts of her classmates simply by selling cookies and hot cocoa. Caitlin Hardy was first inspired to peddle her baked goods after she overheard a student's mother talking about how she was unable to afford an after-school program for her child. Caitlin's mother, Karina, then had to explain to the confused youngster that some parents did not have the same amount of money as other parents, which is why some families may not be able to enjoy the same kind of benefits and freedoms as the Hardy family did. Since Caitlin ran a lemonade stand over the summer, she immediately resolved to set up a cocoa and cookie stand to raise money for her classmates at Breeze Hill Elementary School. For 3 hours, the kindergartner stood outside on the streets of Vista, California, until she had successfully sold all of her cookies and cocoa packets for a grand total of $80. By the time she had finished and donated the money to the school, she had raised enough money to pay off the outstanding lunch debts of 123 students. Everybody is just so proud and happy, and other students are already talking about ways they can also make a difference. Breeze Hill principal Lori Hiley told CNN, "It goes to show that even one small kind act from a 5-year-old can mean the difference for someone in their life." Caitlin now plans on raising enough money to pay off the outstanding lunch debts of her entire school district. "It's all about kindness," added Mrs. Hardy, "especially this holiday season. And with everything that's going on in the world, we just need a little bit more kindness out there." All right, we have a video. We'll share it. If we're going to get a strike, we might as well get it for a good thing.
Breeze Hill Elementary girl has
so they can snack.
But lunch coloring in her
I don't
classroom
know why
at
we're
Breeze Hill
buffering so bad. Let me pause.
Elementary School. This shy 5-year-old girl has a big heart and a worthy cause.
So they can have lunch and snack.
But lunching and snacking takes money.
So I can give money to the lunch people that don't have money.
It all started when Caitlin she was happy. That's when the wheels in her young mind started turning.
She's very to questions, and I tried to answer as best as I could without too much for a 5-year-old, and just explain to her that some people aren't as fortunate as us.
So Caitlin decided she had to help.
Her idea was, could we do a hot cocoa and cookie stand? And I said, let's do it.
They were cookies and snowman and a snowflake one.
She worked hard.
She sat out there for probably about 3 hours and sold through all the cookies, all the hot cocoa.
But even after 3 grueling hours of peddling delicious cookies and hot cocoa, they still had to find out if donating was even possible.
I just left a note saying my daughter held a hot cocoa fundraiser over the weekend and would love to donate the money to any of the negative accounts.
The money Caitlin raised paid off the lunch balances for 123 students. And right on time for the Christmas season, Caitlin is seeing firsthand how far an act of generosity can go.
Her actions do create awesomeness.
You go, Caitlin. Her actions create awesomeness. I couldn't agree more. All right. That's our first good news story. Now, our other one. Hopefully I don't shut the wrong window again. Here we go. And this, hey, even if you ain't as spunky as a 5-year-old and want to set up a cocoa and cookie stand, something as simple as this can even be a good way to show a little bit of Jesus in the world. This one's called A Holiday Card from Mystery Neighbor Has Totally Revitalized a Disabled Woman with Dementia. A depressed grandmother has been overwhelmed with happiness since receiving a mysterious greeting card from a local woman identified only by her first name. In addition to the senior suffering from dementia and depression, she's also disabled, according to her granddaughter, Melly. Every day, without failure, the grandmother sits by the window at her home in Durham, England, so she can wave at passerby. Not much has ever come from the elderly woman's daily routine until this week, when she received an unexpected holiday card in her mailbox. To the lady who waves and smiles with Christmas wishes, read the card. It's nice to see you smile and wave when I walk past your house. Please accept my small token gift to give you another reason to smile. The note, which contained a gift card for a UK grocery store chain, Sainsbury's, was signed only by a woman named Lee. Melly later recounted the heartwarming incident on social media so she could wish the mystery woman a Merry Christmas and thank her for the note. My Nan is disabled and has dementia, explained Melly in a tweet. She sits in her chair by the window all day, every day, just looking outside and normally feeling lonely as we all work during the day. When we went to see her today, someone had posted this through the letterbox. Since publishing this story to Twitter earlier this week, it has been shared by thousands of times. Not only that, social media users have been flooding Melly's inbox with pictures of their pets, since she also mentioned how her grandmother loves animals. She's been so depressed recently. I can't put into words how much this has picked her up, Melly wrote in the several follow-up posts. She's barely eaten for weeks because she's been so down, and I've just made her a sandwich and she's happily chomping away. I could burst. Can't wait to tell Nan how many people have wished her well and show her all the gorgeous pups and cats you've shared. We're all buzzing that you've enjoyed Lay's kindness as much as we have, and I hope she gets to find out. You go, Lee. A simple little note to a stranger can make a world of difference, people. And that's our good news this week.
Awesome possum. I tell you what, Tobin Swings on the other chat, and he said he doesn't have an NPC girlfriend anymore.
Oh, he's got an NPC fiance now, I believe.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. Wait, what? Wait, that's not cool.
Yes, it is.
Wait.
That means they're getting married.
Hey, where'd Sadgie go? He missed the good news.
Oh, man. No, let's see. Go-Kart Bob is in here, I think, on your channel.
Yeah, Go-Kart Bob popped in. Howdy, Go-Kart. He popped in while I was reading the news. Did anybody else sneak in on me? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody have anything else they want to? Raven, anything you want to talk about before we open the phone lines up? Or Hebrew? Hey, there's Sadgie back. Let me get him in here.
Sorry about that. I remember I had a good news thing I wanted to share as well, and I went to go find it and somehow accidentally dropped off. But I did manage to get the link in Shifty Sunday Hangouts if you wanna cover it. You didn't already cover. I don't think you already covered it. I think it wasn't from you. I think I just saw it on my own, but I'm not 100% sure. So when you see it, tell me if it's one we already covered.
Okay, get to the point now.
That was good news last week.
Was it the one we did last week?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was good news last. I know I did it.
Okay, well then, never mind. I wasn't sure if I saw that on my own feed or we covered it already. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it's the one where the little girl, her mom falls down.
What the?
And she takes care of the two big guard dogs and keeps her brother.
Yep, that's the one. Yeah. All right, my bad. I wasn't sure. You know, getting kind of feeble-minded in my old age.
That's understandable.
It was a great story, nevertheless.
You're feeble-minded at any age. What are you talking about?
I know, right?
Oh, wait. That means I am too. Never mind.
Well, if you two are feeble-minded, I must just be completely dead because I'm older than all of you two. Well, maybe not Armor. I'm not sure, but I know I'm younger. I'm older than you two.
Yeah, they're whippersnappers, them two.
Wow.
Hebrew's still damp behind the ears, from what I hear.
What's that?
The phone number up there. The lines are open. If anybody wants to call, I'll pop over and watch the Uber conference.
You know, it would be pretty weird if Superman Boots called in right now.
Yeah, that would be weird.
At least I'd know what number to block. Oh, is this mic on?
You know, I've been saying things over there on the other channel. You guys can't hear them because I'm muted up over here. So just saying.
Ah,
All right.
No, just kidding.
That was evil.
That was diabolical laugh if I ever heard one.
Well, I got to tell you, you know, when I was muted up over here, though, I was still munching on my chips. So you can hear it if you listen to my broadcast, you know, just saying.
You said that as if it was a good thing, as if people might go there just to hear you munch on your chips.
You know, that could be like the new what they call those things to put people to sleep. That could be the new new thing. You know, it could be like
ASMR thing.
Oh yeah, it could be like eating. What would it be? Like people like to hear other people eat. What would that be called?
ASMR, I think they call
This
it.
call is being recorded.
Ooh.
Hey, we got an unknown caller. Unknown
All right.
caller are live. Who we talking to?
Hey, it's Lothar. 900.
Hey, Lothar. Welcome, bro.
Hi, Luther.
How's everyone doing on this fine evening?
Awesome, thank you. We're shifting. We're being super shifty tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to know what the topic was earlier, and I'm going. And I was having a discussion with someone else, and you know, I keep on listening, and you guys are bringing up the. Yeah, you have to understand is the Volkswagen bus. The symbols where they're connected. You have to understand there are ones that are not connected, and there's some that are connected. The ones that are connected were made for the military and what were they, government vehicles. So because in Germany at the time they had a problem where government people who worked for, say you work for the government or you work for the military, would have the keys to the vehicle, and they would sell that vehicle with the papers and everything else to a garage or to someone on the street and get the money for it. Then they would say, hey, my vehicle got stolen. So they made these government vehicles that you can't resell them, but it only lasted, I think, 6 or 7 years, and then it disappeared. There are certain replacement logos also what you can get from China that they're connected, but they're like copyrighted. So say someone steals your Decno from your car or something like that, and you want to order one. If you order one from Volkswagen, it costs like, you know, $80 or something like that. If you get one from China, it's $5, but they're not allowed, so they're connected.
That actually makes a lot of sense. And there was the Beastie Boys. One of the members of the Beastie Boys actually popularized stealing those Volkswagen things because he wore a necklace with the Volkswagen logo on it. And it made a lot of, like back in the early 90s, late 80s, it was a thing to kind of steal them and make them into necklaces.
Right.
Yeah. So you had stuff like that what people were doing. And it's certain things like Rolls Royce, the golden sun, or what's her name, on front goes down into the car so no one can steal her.
Right.
It's a thing because if you're walking, you know, it's just strange things. But that movie, for me, the van is blue now. The van was gold for me. It was gold bottom with a white top, but it was a Volkswagen Beetle van. The color has changed for me. That's all it's changed. Now it's blue. Scarab Performance made the remember that, what is that, that Christmas movie with the, you know, where the dad gets that lamp, the leg lamp?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
The lampshade is red now, And for some people, the lampshade used to be off-white, or like, you know, like I guess like the color of Armor Up's clouds in his photo in the background. For me, it was black. So for everyone, it's been different. There's been different colors. And as you notice, like the biggest thing, and I told people to stick around for 2020, not just predicting this, but this is a really strange one. They brought out Yoda as a baby, and that shows a lot of symbolism. And a lot of people agree with me and a lot of people don't, but that whole symbolism of Yoda, if you go into Freemasonry, this is the guy they actually pray to, and he's been born. That's like showing like a symbolism. I think me and Armor Up were talking about this one time. I can't remember if it was on your show, Armor Up. I can't remember now.
I think
we did. We talked about Freemasonry.
It was either our show or private. I don't remember, but I think we talked about it on live once.
Yeah, because I was a guest on your show once. Yeah, so there's a lot of things what's happening in the future, and then I noticed a lot of things what is in the news. People being taught how to go on the news first and denounce somebody, what's really strange. Just oddly enough, it's with the elections coming up and everything else, where everything on topic is not going to be a topic anymore. I don't know if you understand what I mean. I know, because I don't really want to get into politics, but that's just one of the things that's going to happen this year. In the new year. I don't know. What do you think about that, guys?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Yeah, you're going to have to give us a little bit more information besides what you mean by what topic is it going to be? What would explain?
Well, no, it's okay. Well, the topic usually what happens is you'll see in like on news, CNN, Fox News, anything to do with any Republic stuff, they're going to just jump on it right away. If someone asks a question, they're just going to say Trump tweeted this, Trump did this, or it's going to be like that throughout the whole thing over and over again on everything, all the TV shows, on everything. You will not stop hearing the guy's name. It will go. If you think you're hearing it now, wait till 2020 comes around. It's going to be, they're going to go tenfold on his name.
Oh, you trust me, brother. Down here in America, trust me. The left's nonstop. Trump this, Trump that, Trump that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty much nonstop. I don't honestly see how it could be any worse.
It's all they talk about. It's all they talk about.
Yeah. But like I said, it's going to get even worse than it is, because you have to understand is the Democrats are losing money by the minute, okay? Because they sign contracts in other countries where they're not making their money now. And if he stays in the election, they're not making any money. They're going to go belly up. That means the Democratic Party is going to be sort of finished with everything, because they have no one, they cannot finance themselves. But you have to understand is they did a lot of dealing behind everyone's back. That's like the Canadian government here. I'm from Canada. The Liberal government here did the same thing, where our prime minister now has lost over 277,000 jobs in a month. Okay, and who does he blame? He blames Trump. He doesn't blame himself. He blames Trump. Trump is not. Trump is a different country. You know, we're going through a mini recession now because this guy's blaming someone else for his misdoings. And this is what you'll see what's going to be happening, where if anyone does a mistake, they're going to mention his name.
I forgot.
Yeah, but that's what we're telling you. Down here, they already do. He's already blamed for everything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he don't get credit for the fact that our unemployment's the lowest, basically, in a long, long time. and all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? All you hear is about Trump this, Trump that, Trump and the Russians, Trump and impeachment, Trump and I don't think it could get any worse. Hey, I just want to shout out OG Gamer X and Vivian for stopping in quick.
Well, the main topic I wanted to come on here first of all is I wanted to wish everyone a happy New Year. Anyway, you know what I mean, and I hope.
Sure.
See, I have this tradition.
Happy New Year to you.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying Happy New Year to you. And by the way, I just want to point out before you get off of here that we are going to have a special New Year's Eve broadcast that's going to be broadcasting. I don't know if we're going to do it New Year's Eve afternoon or in the actual New Year's Eve itself, but I'll let you know.
Let me just tell you, I know we're doing a New Year's Eve thing on Dan's channel. His Mandela Monday is going to be Tuesday.
Oh.
So keep that in mind if you schedule it. We'll have to go a little bit earlier or later.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got to watch. I have a tradition I do every time at 11 o'clock or 11 o'clock just before, just before 11, I put on a show called Dinner for One. It's become like a family tradition. I watch it. It's an older show. It's only 15 minutes long. It was produced in Germany, and it's on YouTube. You can look it up. Just type in Dinner for One. You can watch it tonight if you want to. It's hilarious. It's in English, but it was made for German people at the time, in like I think late 50s. And it's hilarious. There's 3 different versions, and that's what I watch. It's just been a New Year's tradition. I've been getting other people involved. Last year we had 17 people come to my house and watch it. So look it up. Don't forget Dinner for One. And I just want to wish everyone a happy New Year, and make sure with Father's blessings, everyone take care, and don't forget the other ones who are misfortunate than other people, right? So thank you, Armor. I'm out of here. I just want to wish you a happy New Year.
All right.
Well, happy New Year to you too, and thanks for calling, Lothar. We appreciate your call.
Yes,
you don't run off. You don't have any callers waiting.
Happy New Year, Lothar.
Well, I got to get the coffee. I got coffee already there, and I have someone waiting for coffee too. So I need my coffee.
All right, brother. Well, hey, thanks for calling.
You can have me. You can have me on a guest on StreamYards one day, and we'll chat even more. But I'm extremely tired. I've been working. I've been renovating 2 apartment suites this month, and I'm exhausted. I've been working 16-hour days, and I'm probably gonna call it good night very soon. And tomorrow I have the day off, so I'm not doing anything. So I'm gonna sleep in for once.
All right. Well, good luck.
Yeah. Thank you. Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen, brother.
Okay. See you all.
Hey, Michelle in the room. She can see us now. Everybody wave. Hi, Michelle.
I meant to say real quick before you get this next call is that I am broadcasting on my.
Don't have a next call.
But Oh, I thought you had a call. You don't have another call?
Negative, not at this moment.
Oh, okay. 10-4, good buddy.
Roger. Don't call me a good buddy.
Oh, sorry about that, man.
I can tell you a trucker joke about that.
Uh-oh.
But I don't do that anymore.
Can we say it on the air or not? No.
I won't even say it off the air anymore. Although it is funny. But I don't know. Panties might go bunched up, and we don't like that. Don't want to burst any bubbles.
Well, I know that for a long time, the people would joke around and say, "Don't say the word pal. Don't call me pal. Don't call me your pal." I'm like, okay. So that was an acronym for something. But I was like, screw this, man. I'll call people pal if I want to. I don't care what that.
I never heard the pal one.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to tell you that when we go off the air for sure.
We do have a caller, though, finally.
Oh, before you get that caller real quick, I just want to say if anyone wants to actually watch our avatars and leave comments to other people that are in the room, you might want to check out the Shifty Sunday on Armor's channel. Hey, Scarab Performance, how's it going, man? Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Dan in the house. Welcome, brother. We had a decent show yesterday. Awesome show and interesting talk afterwards. I think I blew his mind a little bit. That was pretty cool. Pretty cool. But yeah, okay, caller. We got Indiana. You are live. What's happening? Who we talking to?
Hi, this is Lorraine. Happy New Year.
Hey, Lorraine. Happy New Year.
Lorraine, I always thought you were from Texas for some reason.
You said I was from Texas?
Yeah, I always thought you were from Texas.
My great-grandfather was there, and that's where my grandfather was born, so who knows? Part of me from Texas.
Well, I guess we get so many.
I want to visit it. I want to visit Texas again. A couple of things. First, the last couple shows ago, I asked you to play this video, and I'm sorry it was such a letdown after the funny song that Armor played. But I wanted to explain why the video was funny to me. Remember the one it's called Irish Language Lab? Do you remember?
Yep.
Or are you trying to forget it?
Well, no, I remember it. I remember us watching it.
Okay. You didn't get to see the beginning. What was odd is, at the very beginning, he goes into this building, and it's like all white walls and hallway, and, you know, floor and ceiling is pure white, like it's from the future or something. So he walks down this reception desk, and then he walks down this long white hallway to get into that little room to do that, to do the language lab. And he's like a college kid, you know, he's a jock and all that. But so it's bizarre to begin with. And then the thing that always made me laugh is the guy's ridiculous and good, speaking too much, but he still tries to keep up with it. So that's why I always got a kick out of that. I recommend it to see it again, but you didn't think it, you know, anyway, I just wanted to clarify all that. The other thing is, it's not any kind of Mandela effect. I just had car trouble this weekend and got stranded for a little while waiting for a tow truck. So that was an adventure.
I was laughing at. Sorry, go ahead. I was laughing at some of the comments. I'm sorry. I'll mute up.
Oh. All right. Well, I'll have to go look at the comments. To see what was so funny. But anyway, that's all. I mean, nothing much else. I've worked through the holidays, so I'm, you know, I don't have the same approach to them as I did years ago. And I make good money now, so that's good. I can't think of any other quick. Oh well, I've only had little minor things. I think I mentioned months ago there was a field that had been growing some kind of hay or something, and I mentioned this a long time ago. It's not that exciting, but they had rolled the hay into those round bales that I call cinnamon rolls, because that's what they look like. And so they were on the field, then they were gone, and a week or two later, they were back. And in much less time than it would take to grow the same amount of hay to harvest. So that's the only recent effect. I haven't had many others that are that notable or worth talking about, I guess. So there's that. But I do think Sag wins the residue award for finding all that stuff with Back to the Future. So that's why I typed that in.
Oh, yeah, you get a. Hey, I just wanted to say, be sure to check us out for our New Year's show. We won't charge anything, we promise. Not even $1, I promise.
Okay, good. What time do you think you'll do it?
Well, Armor said Scarab's having one. Did you say like it's supposed to be like his Mandela Monday? Is it same time as Mandela Monday?
I believe so. He's in the chat. He might be able to tell us. But yeah, I know he said about he's going to do New Year's Eve show. But I think he's starting at the normal time. But he's in the chat. He can let us know. And what Hebrew was laughing at, Dan posted in the chat that Teresa Lynch got put in Facebook jail for 5 days, I think it is. She ain't allowed to post on Facebook because they thought she was a bot spamming.
Who is she? I haven't gone to look her up. What is she? The one who had videos about things changing? Or,
yeah, Teresa Lynch is like a big
driving
residue
a
hunter.
car.
She mainly was on Brian's channel when I first come to know her, but she's always around on Dan's channel and in the chats. And yeah, she's like a major residue hunter. She finds all kinds of residue.
Yeah, she does a live stream called Curiouser and Curiouser too, or she's on that live stream.
Yeah, her and
Sandy
both,
Diva.
Yeah, Sandy Diva and her. Yep.
But maybe if I'm not trying to put Scarab on the spot, but if he wants to invite either Hebrew or myself to come join on the New Year's Eve, I'm sure either one of us would be happy to do that.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's his Mandela Monday.
Send me $100 cash. I'd be happy to get that too.
Okay, well, he's in chat. You can ask him.
As long as we're looking at the new year and trying to visualize what we want.
I'll tell you.
But that would make for an interesting subject. Lothar mentioned New Year's Eve traditions. Do you have anything you do?
Wait, real quick.
Anything you do?
Real quick, hold on. Before she answers that, though, I just want to say to Dan, you are stepping on our territory. You know, we did have the Taco Tuesday thing before you decided to do that. So thank you for that. Okay, go ahead.
Well, it is a special occasion. It is New Year's Eve. So who knows? Anything could happen.
I don't really have any traditions. I used to watch the television and the ball drop, or I'd be at some bar or restaurant where they would do that. You know, they would have the TV on that at that moment. Lately, though, they just want to charge so much money just to be in their place on that night. And I'm going to be working the next day anyway, so I'm not going to be doing anything too crazy. Sorry, I don't have an exciting life when it comes to New Year's lately.
Well, it don't have to necessarily be exciting. A lot of people make a special dinner that they don't normally cook, any other day of the year. For instance, I had I know some people like to make I don't even know what it is. It's like a pork roast with sauerkraut or something like that. Or no, cabbage. It's corned beef and cabbage. That's what it is.
No.
Black peas.
Pork and sauerkraut,
Yeah,
corned beef
black-eyed
and
peas
cabbage
is
is St. Patrick's Day. And also around here, our traditions, usually what people do, I haven't done it in a while because bullets are expensive. We usually go out at midnight and start shooting your gun up in the air. So it'll sound like a war zone here at midnight. Watch the ball drop, kiss your wife, and you have pork and sauerkraut the next day for prosperity throughout the next year.
Farmer, the bullets come down, right?
Oh yeah, but when you're shooting high-powered rifles in the air, I don't know. Maybe some people in Ohio's dropping. Sorry, I don't know. No, they don't. They ain't hurting. Believe me, we'd all be dead if it mattered. Because trust me, they shoot real guns around here a lot. Like not just one shot either. I'm talking. It'll sound like we got invaded at midnight.
Am I the only one that ever has black peas and cabbage for New Year's? Or is that just a Southern thing?
Yeah.
Maybe. I know we have ham and beans New Year's Day. That's our thing.
I bought champagne. Probably drink
Northern beans. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Michelle's got it right. Black-eyed peas.
I had a housemate who had the tradition of black-eyed peas for good luck and prosperity. And I was like, okay.
I thought you were listening to black-eyed peas. That's where I got confused.
That would be cool. For extra luck, you probably should have both. Well, anyway, that's pretty much it. Sorry, I don't have more exciting things to report.
Well, thanks for calling, Lorraine.
Determination to have a more interesting life to call into podcast to talk about.
Not really.
That's
I
what
don't even have an interesting life, and I'm on the broadcast.
Yeah, that's what I was about
Yeah,
to say.
how
We
is
do
that?
this every week, and we ain't got no interest.
Yeah, if interesting life is the qualification, you guys need to fire me right now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Dan feels like calling in. I hope Dan, I hope you're feeling better. It's not good to go, have a bunch of things to go through at once. I had a rough spring. I had this horrible eye infection that I was ready to die. That's how bad it was. I couldn't see. It was painful, horrible pain. And I was, thank goodness I got over that. But that was months ago. But it was, anyway, I better go. All right.
All right. Well, thanks for calling, Lorraine. Have a good New Year's.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Maybe you guys work out the time so that we don't have to choose one over the other. That's what I suggest. Dan's doing his around 10 Eastern. Then you might want to be done before that. It's just that I want people to listen to both if they want.
Well, they'll have to figure something out because I can't be in both channels at the same time. So.
You mean you haven't learned to bilocate yet?
No, not good at that yet.
Okay. Well, put that on your list for 2020. Learn to bilocate. Okay, guys. Well, have a good one. I will listen to you whenever you're on. Probably.
Alrighty, thanks, Lorraine.
Okay.
Thanks, Lorraine. You have a happy New Year.
Thank you.
Well, you know what? I didn't know if Saji wanted to bring it up or not while she was on the phone, but it's synchronicity. She's talking about her eye infection. I understand, I understand you have something with your eye. Is it gotten better?
My eye's doing much better. Thanks for asking. Yeah, much better.
Cool. I was going to say something about Dan's tooth. Is it just his tooth or is it some teeth?
I don't know. Well, how's your toe? Talking about injured body parts of fellow members.
Injured body parts. Yeah, I could easily bring up my toe again,
Well, that's what I just said. How's your toe?
Well, it's still black as a black-eyed pea. That nail just staying on there, just don't want to come off for some reason. But the toe, I mean, I can do one-handed push-ups with on that toe, so I think it's healed up pretty good. Thank you for asking.
Good.
But maybe we need to do a Save the Tooth foundation for Dan. Start a little charity of some sort. Make sure he doesn't get he doesn't have to have it pulled. He has it pulled and has to have it replaced or something like that. Maybe he'll get him a nice metal tooth, and then he could just run the broadcast just by talking. He won't even have to hook up to anything.
You just man up and muscle through. I had bad teeth for a year. It hurt every time I tried to eat, but I don't do dentist. I know it came out when the time was right. It took a while, but eventually you cough, it flies out in your hand, and you're like, thank you. So, yeah, suck it up. Man up. That's what I think. 10 years I like to bust it. No, but I did, though. Yeah, for a long time. It would even get abscessed, and I'd swish some peroxide around in my mouth when it'd start leaking. Yep.
Oh, you could just use some really strong black coffee, one or the other.
Oh yeah, I always drink black coffee. No, seriously, when it's infected, you got to put peroxide in there. You die.
Yeah, for sure. There's nothing worse than a toothache, man. I think that can be one of the most painful things anyone ever endures.
Oh yeah, it's not fun. Imagine it for like a year or what. It's like,
Oh man,
not fun at all. But man, it's awesome when it's over. Trust me. You sure appreciate eating without pain.
oh man, I love jalapeno cornbread. That's awesome. We used to have a chili cook-off down at Teddy's Bar and Grill every year, and every year someone would bring like this really awesome jalapeno cornbread. Man, I really wish I hope they do it this year. Maybe I'll sample a few pieces for you guys and send them to you. But no, it really is awesome. Just saying.
Good to know. Are you? Is this with what the chili cook-off? It's at that. You've mentioned that a few times. They do it this time of year.
Yeah, they usually do it around the Super Bowl. Like they have the Super Bowl, and then they have the cook-off. The cook-off, they do it, of course, before the Super Bowl, and they get all the judging done. And when it's all said and done, he lets everyone have. We have pots of free chili that everyone can eat from, and there's other snacks too. Like I think him and his wife bring some hot dogs and stuff like that. So I hear you got another call there, Mr. Armour.
Yes, we do. We have a caller on the line.
All right.
Hey, you are live. Who we talking to?
Am I live right now?
You're live right now.
What are y'all talking about? Y'all talking about the Mandela Effect?
We're talking about whatever you want to talk about. We never know.
Oh, okay. Well,
who we talking to? Who's
confused. This is JP.
Hey, JP. Cool.
Yeah, man. How you doing, man? It's really great to, be on this broadcast and, hearing you guys and talking about that.
You don't really sound like a JP. You sound more like a DJ or DG.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Okay.
Hey, you're worse at that than Hebrew, brother.
I know. I'm terrible.
He ain't good. He ain't good at all. And I'm just saying.
I didn't have the mojo tonight to even do that. I was just like, oh man. But I thought, well, I tried anyway, because it's the first time I think I've tried to joke with you guys on this broadcast.
Yeah.
How are y'all doing tonight?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Oh man, doing good. Just thought I'd pop in here and check on everybody and see how everybody's doing. Of course, I was chatting and talking about how Teresa got her butt banned on Facebook, which is really hilarious, actually.
Yeah, that's funny. I was watching that in the scare.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I like the picture Sandy put up. That was funny.
Yeah, she's all like in jail. It's like, and we've told her a million times, like, Teresa, girl, she posts everything, like not even Mandela Effects. It's like she'll post, strange conspiracies out there, or science stuff, whatever. And she throws it all on there. In fact, what she does even on her own channel sometimes is she'll actually take a post by somebody else and she'll repost it. Like, so she just like, I don't know. That's just Teresa. She likes, I think honestly, and I've said this, I think she has an addiction. Like, I think she likes like getting notifications from Facebook, and she gets that little bit of an endorphin rush or something, from doing this. And I don't know, man. And it's like, well, we told her, like, look, you sure post a lot on Facebook. My gosh, she's all over the place. So anyway, she's in jail now. And then so I posted on Facebook, and there's a post about her being, in jail. So I said, it's really bad. I said, I talked to Teresa, and she is going through Facebook withdrawals. She is in the corner of a room, gripping her phone in the dark with a bowl of Jell-O by her side, using an app that makes the same Facebook notification chime. As she pushes the button to simulate notifications over and over, she whispers softly, "You like me. You really, really like me."
That's great.
Would that be called self-notification?
Yeah. Oh, and anyhow, yeah. So that's kind of funny today.
You know, Dan, you did almost have me fooled.
Huh?
You
That's
did almost have me fooled there for half a second, and then it's like your voice slowly started to slip, and I'm like, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Dan.
your inner Dan came out.
I
You slipped.
Man, I'm just not 100% right now. So, I can't really slip into other characters when my main character is still, still not there,
True,
all the way.
Hey,
so
we'll give you E
hopefully,
for effort, brother. E for effort.
Yeah. Thank you. I
Very
appreciate that. And, yeah, man, I was hearing you guys talk about the tooth thing. Yeah. The thing that happened to me that was so bad is it's not just the abscess. It blew up, man. So my cheek got really swollen, like where I look like, like a character from, I don't know.
Yeah, that's when you got to swish some peroxide around. It really helps.
Yeah, exactly. And
Don't swallow
I've
it,
done
though.
the
Spit it
peroxide,
out.
but the problem is that it's in the I'm looking like what's the movie, The Godfather? Where the is it? Yeah, I look like The Godfather right now. I'm like, hey,
come to me.
So yeah, right. So it's one of the things, and I was taking like some antibiotics, but it became resistant to those antibiotics. Okay, because I let it go for too long and just kept using them, and so whatever. I had a big problem on my hand, so it swelled up to the point where, yeah, I couldn't even open my mouth. I was, eating soup and everything. So I went to the dentist and they were like, yeah, we can't touch this, dude. It's too dangerous because it's so swollen. So we need to give you these antibiotics and you need to let the swelling go down and then we can, take care of the tooth. So that's what happened. That's why it was such a, kind of a crappy situation because I can't, I've had to wait and just, let the swelling go down. And it still won't, it's to a point where it's gone down a lot. And it's I'm able to start broadcasting again. I haven't missed the week before I missed all the shows. I just couldn't do it. So yeah, it's better. And tomorrow I'm gonna go back in for that. But on top of that, because that was the major issue, I still gotta get my blood sugar levels right.
Right.
And they want and the metformin they gave me isn't working. So.
JM brings up a good point. Stuff like that, being sick like that, that'll jack your blood sugar levels too for people that have that type of thing. So that surely isn't helping. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah, very true. So I've got a few things going on all at the same time, and right during the holidays, and I'm trying to, focus on things and stuff like that. Like just trying to enjoy the holidays to some degree. It's been difficult, So, I'm getting better, so that's good. And of course, I've got to get this tooth taken care of, and I was able to get on an insurance plan, and so hopefully I'll get it taken care of in the next week or so, and everything will be better off, moving into the new year. And that's my main goal, just dealing with these health issues and the diabetic stuff, man. I mean, I don't know how long I've been dealing with this, right? So I think it's been, it's been affecting me for a while, and I just didn't even know about blood sugar being so high. So I think it's it's definitely important. And I told everybody online, I said, guys, I got to get the health right and get this figured out because I'm no good to anybody if I'm not healthy. So that's the main thing. Next year, my New Year's resolution.
So I have a question for you, Dan.
Yeah.
With the new year coming around, the 2020 or whatever, I'm seeing a lot of people saying this is the year. Everybody's going to start to see things more clearly. Hence the vision reference of seeing things 2020. I mean, it's kind of cliche, but I get it. And I'm just curious, do you have any thoughts or maybe predictions for the coming year? Not just concerning the Mandela effect, but just, and just the truther movement, generally speaking. I mean, do you think we're going to have any major revelations or disclosure, or the things come to light? And if so, maybe in what way, or any New Year's predictions that you might have is what I guess what I'm asking.
Yeah. You know, I I think a lot about the 2020 stuff only because you know we've got a lot of interesting things happening within 2020 in the next 3 to 4 years that are coming to fruition. Is 2020? I think 2020 is going to be a major turning point. I think geopolitically, it's going to be a major thing when Trump gets his second term. I think we're going to see a lot more aggressive Donald Trump because of his last 4 years in office, and I think that he's going to do a lot more things that are going to shock people. If you thought it was shocking this first 4 years, you haven't seen nothing. I can tell you that it's definitely going to be some crazy moves going on there. I still don't trust Trump. You know, I know a lot of people want to put faith into Trump to some degree and say that maybe he's, there's something biblical about Trump. That could very well be, but in my opinion, I still say that, if moving forward with this, with the idea that they want to bring forth world government, okay, ultimately they want world government and they want everybody on the same page. In order to do that, you must destroy the last remaining superpower in the world, and just like in many cases, looking throughout history, most great civilizations did not, or most, great superpowers did not fall from, being defeated militarily or anything like that. They fell from within through corruption, financial, different means like this, just like Rome fell, from within.
Exactly. I'm right there with you. I couldn't agree more, but keep going.
Well, I think that, ultimately the stock market, when I watch this stuff, people are like, wow, we're doing so good. But I believe this is being done on purpose. It's artificially inflated. And essentially that what they're going to do is, once this thing actually crashes, we're going to be so high with the market that it's going to just destroy everything. It's going to destroy the economy. And I think once the economy gets destroyed, they can then roll out their new currencies and things like that. Is it going to happen next year? No, it probably won't. I think that, it's a 4-year gap here. And of course, at that 4-year gap comes this eclipse. This eclipse is supposed to, X out the United States, and we're supposed to see this solar eclipse. It's actually supposed to go right through Dallas. So it's pretty interesting that. So I would say that it's not so much next year, but be very wary of the next 4 years. I think the next 4-year plan is going to be something that it's going to be something to behold. And I would definitely say that layers of the onion are definitely going to start being removed for this 2020 event, coming next year. And I think that we should, just be prepared. There's going to be a lot of upheaval going on, and I think that there's still more. There's still more to come. When it comes to, if you want to call them signs in the Bible, or just this, until we get to the well, God's honor knows what time, the day and the time that we're in. I mean, we are definitely in the end days, okay, and this is the end time. But I think that God can change things in the blink of an eye. And I think that my personal opinion is that you're not, what's going to happen essentially is just like anything in a Mandela Effect where we see it change overnight. I believe our world can change overnight. And I think that this might be something pretty incredible to say, but I do believe that one day we'll wake up and like literally it will be a different world. This separation of wheat and tares, this event is taking place. Things are being sort of, put back, if you want to say. They're sort of being rearranged in our world now. And I think that, eventually when the event happens and when the true separation happens, A lot, even in the New Age, they call it the ascension. There's all kinds of words for it. They use a lot of the same meanings. It's just that, on a Christian perspective, it's the tribulation. And I've said this from the very beginning when I first started getting the Mandela Effect. My first thought, okay, when looking at everything that I was seeing, I had a really incredible sort of like strong feeling that we were entering into those times in the Bible, okay. And I wasn't sure, like, is it the 7 years or what are they talking about, the tribulation? Well, I wasn't sure if we were entering into it right then and there, or if we were already in it or what. But I feel like we're in those times. And there's no doubt about it. We are getting a front row seat to the most incredible changes and most incredible things, okay, that, most people don't see it. But we do. We're bearing witness to this right now. And, those who are out there who are sharing and like-minded, this is a very important time for all of us. And I think that, for whatever reason, we've been given sight to see. And, we're doing our best to warn everybody. And that's all we can do. I think that, everyone's path is an individual path. And I think that this is, something quite amazing. And I believe that when it's all over, I think we're going to really thank God for the road and the journey that we took to get here.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that has a lot to do, like you mentioned, Teresa being in Facebook jail. I really think that has a lot to do why it seems like they're really enforcing this the suppression of certain channels and certain information and certain narratives. And you're seeing more and more of the mainstream news taking over the YouTube platform and people who are really trying to go against the grain of the official narrative, being forced to go into alternate platforms like DLive or other ones that I'm sure you're aware of. People are switching their accounts over to just so that they can talk more freely and have less suppression. And then I saw, I know, I don't know how much this ties in biblically, but I know the year 2025, I believe, is the year that we come out of the age of Pisces, which is supposedly the age of Jesus's started. Age of Pisces kind of started at the time when Jesus was born, and now we're supposedly going into the age of Aquarius, which is supposed to be a man carrying a bucket of water. I don't really know how that's relevant, but it's interesting nevertheless. And I actually have been recently listening to some of your old broadcasts. Like you have you've made a couple best of, like at the end of the year, you kind of make like a compilation thing of like your best of, and I have really been enjoying listening to those. So you've done, you don't get enough. You don't get enough credit for when you first started out. How much insight and how much there were so many people so confused about the Mandela Effect and just so confused about things in general. And you really did your channel, your Scared Performance channel really has, over the course of these last 3 to 5, 6 years, I'm not even sure how old your channel is, but I know that when I go back and I listen to those old streams that you did, you really were out there trying to make sense of all this way back when there was little sense to be made of it. And I just want to give you kudos for that, because I go back and I listen to those, and you did some of your best work when it was just you and the microphone, and you didn't have a large panel or a lot of it was just you sharing your thoughts and sharing what you were and sharing things that you discovered and interacting with your chat audience. And I just want to make sure I give you the credit that you deserve for some of that stuff, because it really, I know that when I first found your channel, it meant a lot to me to see a somebody who wasn't a fearmonger, somebody who wasn't trying to sell me something, somebody who wasn't trying to pitch a book or had any type of obvious agenda they were trying to put out there. You were just trying to help people make sense of everything. And I don't know, I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that and acknowledge that, I guess is all I'm saying.
Well, I appreciate it, and I've been truly blessed. I've had so many great people come work with me in various times. I mean, like, we might not be working together anymore, some of the people I started with, but I don't forget what those people brought to me and in my channel initially, because you got to remember, I never wanted to do this at all. I'm not a broadcasting person. In fact, I was very quiet. I probably might say something here and there, but I wouldn't never have thought of getting out and speaking to the public. It was absolutely frightening to think that I could actually do this. And so until the Mandela Effect, until I actually witnessed something that was like life changing, I realized that it was just time to man up, and say something. Like, it was time. I had spent 20 years in conspiracy, looking at various things and investigating different avenues, looking into the occult, looking into all kinds of things. And then, I never thought I never thought I'd create a channel. I mean, it just never really dawned on me until that night, I came to the Mandela Effect and I made my first video. And then, shortly after that, certain people came around. I got to be honest, early on, I was nervous, doing the broadcasting. So having Rachel Reenstra on board, to come in and bring her Hollywood thing in there and sort of, just take the reins. It just took a lot of pressure off me, because she's like, she's a comic. So she's like, you can just let her go and keep the dead air down and, keep the show moving along. And then of course I had Angela and I had Life Matrix and, I had, let's see who else. Guy Vox has been there from almost the beginning too. There's been tons of people, man, that I have to tell you that have really, helped me. Of course, God's Armor now helps me with the after hours show. And I mean, my God, it's been a blessing, and it's not all me. And what God has put around me, okay, to make my channel successful and informative, I can only give it to God, because that is truly something that is just worked out in ways that I couldn't even fathom. That it's come to this, and now we're here, and we're moving into this new year, and a lot is still going on. I mean, we're still seeing changes and whatnot. I just hope that we're able to continue bringing you guys all this information, and hopefully we can still do it on YouTube, and hopefully nothing happens there. But if it does, okay, we have avenues, and there's already places that I can go to post my videos, totally online, okay, without any censorship at all. Okay, if that happens, all right, I'll still be able to go there. So for me, anyway, as far as YouTube goes, and as far as what I say, I do try to keep it very professional, so that YouTube can't ever come at me and say, oh, you talked about this or you talked about that. I don't, I know there's certain areas out there that you have to be careful of when you speak about things. So I'm well aware of that, and I just try to avoid that stuff, because really, there's no need to, talk down or, try to be controversial in that manner. Yeah, it's kind of funny sometimes, but at the same time, you can get yourself into trouble. So I try to avoid that and try to keep it as clean as possible. And it's been a recipe for success. So I just want to say thank you, man, for everything, and I appreciate it. And man, I'm really happy to be doing this right now.
Yeah, for sure. And the last thing I wanted to say was, it does seem like the suppression is just getting worse and worse. I honestly do see that a lot of people are reluctant. I think a lot of people who have established successful channels like yourself on YouTube are reluctant to change platforms because the thought of starting a channel all over again isn't ideal by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, there's no reason to leave if you don't have to, you know. But you definitely do a good job. You can't always count on, you know, the caller to not go down a crazy rabbit hole or to bring up a controversial subject. But as far as keeping everything professional, fun, and I guess just calm. You have a calmness about you that that's what resonates with me so much. I think is how you're really patient with your callers. You keep everything calm. You don't let everything get kind of out of control. Or I mean, I listen to some other. I mean, I listen to certain other channels, and I just can't do it. I'll be in that live chat maybe for 10, 15 minutes, and there's just so much chaotic energy happening. It's just not for me, you know. But I guess everybody likes what they like, you know. Some people are drawn to that sort of energy.
Yeah, some people, yeah, you know, drama is a big one, you know. And early on, I think that if you listen to the first stuff, you know, the first Mandela Mondays, I mean, it was like I go back and I cringe because I'm a very, you know, I'm my biggest critic, right? So I'm like, oh boy, you know, I should have done that better. And you know, I've always kind of gone back and every once in a while listen to myself, and I just be like, okay, make an adjustment here, do this, you know, and just learn from it. And as far as patience with people, yeah, I think that, you know, I think that's a good thing right now because we're in such crazy times. I don't want to ever, you know, I don't want to ever have a caller call in who's really dealing with something like that they can't explain and make them sound like they're crazy or something like that. That would not be right. I mean, I feel like, you know, if I was to call somebody else or talk to somebody else about this Mandela Effect, I wouldn't want to be treated that way. So if I was calling into a show and I was like trying to explain what I was experiencing, you know, they could probably write me off as nutty or whatever. But no, I let people just sort of, you know, share their thoughts. And like I said, we don't always have to agree. And as long as you come with some proof or, you know, something like that, I'm more than happy to listen to you and hear you out. And I think that, you know, that's the one thing I'm really proud of is that we sort of, you know, give people out there a voice and that maybe, you know, otherwise wouldn't have one with other channels. So I think that's what makes ours a little bit different. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Also, I know you interviewed the guy that made the Mandela Effect movie about a few weeks ago, and I've seen he's made his rounds, you know, to other venues and whatnot. And I really am seeing some mainstream media now starting to talk about the Mandela Effect, and I'm seeing more articles come in, and I'm noticing we're getting some good exposure, some bad. I'm seeing the word confabulation come back up again. The words misremembering, but at the same time that, you know, in these articles that they the ones that use these terminologies, they're listing, you know, really watered down vanilla versions of the Mandela Effect, and they're just I don't know how to explain it, but they're just writing them off as misremembering or trying to, you know, kind of belittle them, for lack of a better way of doing it. But I think overall the message, more and more people that are watching that movie are starting to scratch their head, are starting to kind of think twice about it. I think even when you come along one of these so-called discredit the Mandela Effect articles, it's still putting the word Mandela Effect out there. I think overall the movie's going to do a lot, but I don't think it's getting much promotion. I don't even think it's going to be in theaters much longer with all these other blockbusters coming out. But I think it did make a ripple in the ocean, so to speak, though.
Well, I think we should, you know, most people want to say, oh, you know, the movie sucks or whatever. Look, hey, I say this. Yeah, I don't think the movie sucks. I think the movie for its time when it was made, and they started, supposedly filming it in 2016, 17, something like that. You're right. Finished it up late 2017. Um, there wasn't a lot of people talking about what the causes were. He made a movie and tried to make it entertaining, based off this phenomenon. And I think, going in, looking at it like that, I think that actually it exceeded my expectations. I honestly thought it would be much worse. I
So
thought it
did
was
I.
I mean, I thought that it had a good storyline, good plot, and I think that's why I gave it a much more positive rating, because I honestly initially had pretty much said I just don't think this movie is going to be anywhere. It's going to be probably a piece about a guy with a psychological disorder that he has to take a pill for, and that kind of thing. Like, I thought it was just going to be a not a well researched movie about the Mandela Effect, and it turned out that it had a lot more in it than I expected. So I had talked to David Guy Levy, and I'm hoping to get him back on to really go in depth with a lot deeper Mandela effects, and because I really think this guy is interested in it, maybe in a part two or something like that. And the part two would even be better because it would talk more, maybe get into the deeper aspects of the spiritual nature of the Mandela effect, and not just um, you know, Stern and D Wave and that kind of stuff.
Exactly, because it kind of
and it,
comes off as a paranormal movie more than it does a spiritual message. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree with that, and I think that David, going in, that was pretty much the initial thought for a lot of people. Hell, I even put out a video talking to showing Gordy Rose, up there on stage, talking about how there are parallel worlds, and we can access these worlds with this D-Wave computer. And I even put out the first thought that, are they doing something with this technology? Okay. Not that I hadn't, not that I didn't acknowledge the spiritual aspect of it, but looking at first, that was like some of the stuff that we were considering. Like, it was certain D-Wave. So I'm guilty initially, of going down those avenues too. And I don't think it's necessarily that, because when you break everything down, it's really hard for me to believe that the changes, like what is changing, would be affected, like by a computer or by a large machine. I think that they could be tools that are being used, and they're obviously could be part of the process itself, and it just part of the times that we're living in. But I truly believe is definitely something more spiritual and more spiritual order that we're dealing with. So that's where I would take it. But I would love to have David on to sit him down and to really get more in depth about what truly the Mandela effect is. It's not just Berenstein Bears anymore. Okay. It is much deeper than that. I mean, we have a ton of other things that we could talk about. And he didn't really even necessarily touch on the Bible changes. And so there's a lot of, the Bible is really, under attack with the Mandela effect. It is not it used to be a literary work of art, but just the wording alone in the Bible, okay, is changed so much. And it doesn't all have a sinister meaning nonetheless, but it does show that there is definitely some manipulation going on. And also, there was no contradictions in the Bible, and yet it contradicts itself many times now. Growing up, that's what I learned, and I find that to be very unnerving. So there's a lot of things I want to sit David down and be like, bro, have you seen this? Have you seen that? This is what's going on. Look at the world. Look at I'd love to talk about the earth changes with him. I think that would be fantastic. So hopefully I'll get that opportunity. I've reached out to his people. I'll do it again probably tomorrow. I'll send him another email and just, see if he's ready to talk about that. And of course the movie, because now we've all seen the movie. And, ask him about some of the symbolism that's in that movie. I'm not, as an interviewer, I don't ever hold back. I try to, ask the tough questions. And so I would ask him, like, why did you have an upside down cross? Why that symbolism? Why was that added into the movie? And there's a few other things that I have some questions about. And so I noticed that pictures on the wall and things like that, a lot of as above, so below duality, mirrors, things like that were symbolic, that were showing up all through the movie. So,
you didn't get to interview him that last time before you watched it, right? You hadn't seen the movie yet when you were interviewing him, correct?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
When you had him on your show to interview him, Levy, you hadn't watched the movie yet at the time of the interview, correct?
No, none of us had. It was coming out a few days prior, so none of us had watched it. There was a small screening, I think, down in Austin, and it showed the movie. A few people got to see it, but the people who interviewed hadn't seen it. So, none of us have gotten to interview David after the fact. So I would like to just talk to him more about it. I think he's an interesting guy. He definitely, and I've seen some other interviews with him about the movie from other sources, and they were pretty good. And he talks a little bit more about why he did what he did. So I have just some more follow-up questions for him, but hopefully we'll get him back on.
And I think you should rally for getting a small role, at least in the second movie, if he makes one, or at least be on as a consultant or something. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, that'd be cool. Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, sure. If that would, if that can happen, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of strange stuff going on with the channel. I mean, when Negan shows up into your broadcast, that's kind of trippy.
And then the other thing I want to mention, just the last thing I meant to say it earlier when I was doing my little spiel before, but I think one cool thing about the movie is the fact that it's a movie and called The Mandela Effect. That in itself, to some degree, helps legitimize it enough that you can take somebody who is unaware of it or that would normally be a real skeptical person, a naysayer or whatever. You can actually say, hey, there's a movie about the Mandela Effect. Let's watch the movie, innocently, charmingly, innocently. Just let's watch it. And then afterwards, hey, what did you think about that? Let's look into it some more. Act like you're, kind of go down the road of discovery with somebody who hasn't been down it yet. That's a good way to, it's kind of a good icebreaker. It legitimizes the ice breaking process.
I think that, looking at the Mandela effects you pointed out in the movie, they're all solid Mandela effects. They're just, older ones that we already know about for us. So we were a little bit like,
exactly.
Bears, lost keys and fairies, we all know about that. I kid. But no, looking at what he presented, I mean, he presented them as stuff that people would definitely have a reaction to. And I think that, going forward and showing those basic Mandela effects, but nonetheless solid Mandela effects, I think that would go a long way to helping wake people up. And of course, then he gave in the theories. All right. And we do know most people do believe there is a CERN. Most people do believe there is a D-Wave computer. And I would say that, most people believe in that. A lot of people believe in that more so than they believe in God. So that's where he left out that aspect. But he had to put it on something, right? He had to kind of give it more of a sci-fi sort of twist to things. And remember, he's trying to make a movie that is informative yet entertaining at the same time. He has to come up with a storyline. So, I don't know if any of us, going back to 2017, knowing what we knew then, could have done much better. That's all I'm saying is like, come on, man.
I totally agree. I wasn't trying to bash the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I'm saying is like, I feel like people were a little bit harsh on the movie, but that's only because I don't know. I just feel like, if you're going to create a movie, you can go and just and give it 100% spiritual route, or talk about God. But you know how those movies do. Those things get, I mean, they get shackled, right? I mean, unless you got some big bucks, you're not going to get it. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, a movie about God changing the world, and the times that we're living in, maybe even the end of days, you might be able to make something cool out of that. But I'm just saying, I think just to wake people up, this is a good first step. And I believe that if you go into it further, he will probably see, at least I could probably try to convince him at least that there's a spiritual happening here. And just, if I had a chance, I'd love to have him back on to discuss it.
Yeah, I hope that happens. I hope you'll be able to make that happen.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see for sure, and yeah, and I don't know, though hopefully this new year it's really, at least the end of this year is really ramping up, and good things are happening. Like I said, the channel somehow, I don't know how this happened. I don't even meet the requirements, but somehow it happened. I got the membership status. That's big. A lot of channels don't have that. So,
yeah, I noticed that you did that. I don't want you to take offense if I don't sign up for a membership right away. It's not by choice. It's just not in my budget. But I do think that's a great thing for your channel. And I also wanted to. I had one other thing I was going to say, and now I forget.
Yeah, well, I'll just say this. I was really shocked that happened. I get an email from YouTube saying, hey, based off, the fact that, you have a good support base, and that your fans are out there, we're going to go ahead and, allow this to occur. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was like,
how
wow.
has your subscriber count been doing? Is it been going higher, going lower, staying about the same? I haven't really took notice one way or the other.
Oh, stagnant. Absolutely stagnant. In fact, it goes backwards most of the time. It's just crazy. It's like I was like 40 subscribers away from 23,000, and then all of a sudden it just stopped, and then like there was just nothing. I mean, this is a channel that was like, there's no way, man. It's crazy, dude. Like, there's no way that it used to be between 800 and 1,000 a month when I first started. It was crazy, man. It was like gaining subscribers. Wow, a lot of people checking out my stuff. And I was making videos, and I was getting a lot of a lot of new subs. And then I started going to the broadcasting side while I was still making videos. There's no reason for anyway. I felt like the production level of the channel got much better, and then like the better it got, well, then the less subscribers I started noticing a drop off. Almost like they were they were turning a faucet and just shutting the water off. And I think what it was is that my channel videos weren't getting promoted anymore. There's not in the sidebar there, like, hey, recommended video, watch this. I'm not getting recommended. And so that's the issue. And once they stopped recommending me, and they went to more of a, and that's the thing, is that they want to recommend the corporations, so it's kind of happening to everybody. It's not just necessarily a target on me, but it does feel like it is targeted to you, and it's you and your channel, and you realize, like, you look at your subscriber base, and it like is a negative for the whole month, like there's negative, just whatever. And I think those are just people that aren't necessarily leaving my channel. I think they're just being unsubscribed. And that's another thing that sucks, So if you're not getting new subscriptions, then, then basically you'll start going in reverse because they'll just start removing subs. And people have told me, hey, look, I was subscribed to your channel. I don't know what happened. I got unsubscribed, I'm like, yeah. And that happens. And so we know what's going on with YouTube. And, what do you do?
I remember back over the summer, there were several shows in a row where I wasn't getting notifications. Like when you were doing your live streams, I stopped getting them. And so the bell kept, how you're supposed to have the bell for when you get the notifications. My bell kept getting unchecked, and I know I wasn't unchecking it. I wasn't getting unsubscribed, but the bell kept getting unchecked, and then it hasn't happened in a long time now, probably since end of August. I think might have been the last time it happened, but I literally had to start going to your channel just to see if you were live streaming on the times I knew you should be live streaming.
Yeah, see, that's where things are. Yeah, that's what people tell me all the time. They're not even getting notifications, and that really sucks. It's one thing to like, okay, fine, you don't want to recommend my videos, but if people want to see your content and they want to check the bell and they want, why is that stuff getting unchecked? It makes you wonder.
Yeah, I was getting curious. I actually thought, I was. It got to the point where I was taking screenshots of it just to make sure I wasn't crazy.
Oh yeah, you're not the only one who told me about that, man. For sure. It's a very strange thing, and I don't know what to make of it, man. Other than the fact that YouTube's doing something, and maybe they're unchecking, they're unchecking things so that they can push more of the content they want you to see. For instance, the political stuff, and I noticed that the Fox News is and MSNBCs and stuff like that. The big news outlets are getting pushed all the time in my feed, and of course the channels that are quote part of networks, stuff like that. There are a lot of channels out there that are not independent. They appear to be independent, but they're not. These are channels that typically have quite a few subscribers, have no problem with growth, seem to talk about the same Mandela effect that I'm talking about, but they have no problems or no issues. So if it's a Mandela effect issue, if it's a small channel issue, then they should be going through the same thing that I'm going through if all things are fair. But things are not fair. So I think that some of these channels are part of bigger networks, and they're capitalizing off the Mandela effect for their own gain. And so they'll put out, top 5 videos and things like that. And they have no problems like, getting tens of thousands of views. Whereas any of the regular channels that are out there now, any of us that started out in the beginning, I mean, my God, man, you can't get any traction, you know? So it's a little unnerving. But then I always think, you know what? It's really not about everybody else. It's not about what's out there now. It's about the people that I've, come to have put on my channel in the last, like say 2 years. Okay, who've been part of my broadcast. These people, we have built a network, a solid core, and it's the core group that matters. And if people are out there that, I mean, there was a time where I thought, oh my God, I might be able to make this YouTube thing work, make enough money to, to support myself on YouTube. And I thought that it might be possible early on because of the growth that I was seeing. It was exponential and it was amazing. And I had a lot of videos that hit. I had 2 videos hit over 1 million views. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And now, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen unless they sell out to a network. And they've contacted me. I've had them email me before and tell me, hey, we want you to, do this, do that. But when talking to one of the guys, I asked him, and I was like, so explain to me what you want me to do for you. Like what is this all about? And the way I understood it is that they basically they're gonna, they want you to do what you're doing, but at the same time you're gonna work for them, and then they'll tell you from time to time to promote a certain subject matter, to promote it in a positive way or whatever. Essentially, you become owned, and I wasn't gonna do it. I don't want to. I'm sorry. I'm not about to ever be told what I can say. If somebody has a problem with it, then then forget it. It's got to be 100% open, or I ain't doing it. It's just like I was offered. They wanted me to be on Truth Frequency Radio, but I wouldn't go to Truth Frequency Radio because their one stipulation was that you cannot talk about God or Jesus. Actually, I think they said Jesus. Yeah, so no talking about Jesus. Everything else is okay. Just don't talk about Jesus. I'm like, what? I'm like, the hell with that. I'm not. No, dude. That's what kind of place? Who makes these?
Right. Yeah. That I actually used to listen to a lot of Truth Frequency Radio, and you can get away with you talking about spirituality, but you can't go Bible thumper on there. Yeah, can't do it.
Well, and that's the thing is like you've listened to my show. I'm really not a Bible thumper. I'm more of a I'm a truth thumper, and I would and if I feel Jesus is the truth. Okay, but that's my belief. But I absolutely don't really ever try to push my beliefs on anybody. I just try to have an open mind about everything because I know there's a lot of weird stuff going on out there, and you know what? I have a lot of questions too, and I'm not afraid to say I don't know everything. I'm not afraid to say that, if I have questions, I should be able to ask them. I feel like in our world today that we've gotten to a point where, people are afraid to ask questions because they don't want to sound stupid, and I always feel like, it's sort of like we sort of police ourselves with that kind of mindset. And I think that's wrong. I think if you have a question, a legit question, just like Armor Up and myself brought up about the Bible, about some of the discrepancies of the Old Testament and New Testament, this has been an elephant in the room for many Christians. And we've all wondered, why is it, that God seems so different? We touched on that aspect a little bit, and we said, what is going on here? Why is there a difference? Is there something more here that we need to be looking into? And you know what? Sorry, and we weren't trying to offend anybody. We were just trying to ask the simple questions. And my point is that when you ask these questions, people get all up in arms, and get angered sometimes. And we weren't trying to anger anybody. We're just saying, at some point, okay, especially since we're all Mandela Effect and we all see it, when is it okay to ask the simple questions? And I feel like most of the time in our world, people would look down upon you like, oh, he doesn't know that. Why is he asking that question? Or, whatever. And I think that's wrong. I think that we should be able to ask. And if you don't have answers, then what do you have? I mean, if you can't answer the simple questions, then maybe you never had any truth in you anyway. So I think that's a big test. And if I don't know something, I'll just tell you, hey man, I don't know, but I'll try to look into it. And so anyway, yeah, that's
But somehow I hear Jack Nicholson in the background going, "You can't handle the truth."
right. Jack might be right. I have experienced after what I've experienced in the last 3.5 years. I gotta tell you, dude, maybe Jack's on to something with that. I think that's true. I think there are a lot of people that really can't handle the truth. Because the narrative, the preordained sort of answers that are given to us are so much easier sometimes to just accept and just take it take it as like, oh, okay, that's fine, whatever. Instead of going with your gut and listening to your heart. And, I think that many times there is a lot of strangeness out there. I think honestly though, maybe there is some information out there that is almost too much to handle. I haven't personally run into it yet, but there have been times where I've pondered things, on different levels, and they almost make me feel like I'm falling, like I'm about to, a sense of, where I'll actually think of stuff sometimes where I'm like, it's so monumental, the weight of it, the gravity of the situation is like, it makes you feel like, I actually feel like I'm, in a sense falling or having a falling feeling, because it's just like, whoa, I don't know if you've ever, just had some, deeper thoughts. I guess we all sit around sometimes and really ponder things. I do. And when I think about some of this stuff, it's, it can be, pretty unnerving. But, that's where we have to put our faith in Jesus. And that's what I do. And I try to, just, live my life, live my life through him. And so, I just try to make the best decisions I can. And so, whatever, whatever I'm supposed to know, I will know, and eventually, hopefully, I will be able to convey them to my audience. If I have any striking revelation, I'll be happy to tell anything.
Yeah, I agree. I know I've found a lot of strength in scripture lately. I recently received a Bible in the mail. Armor mailed me one, believe it or not. And I actually sat here in my chair the other day and I looked through it and I was reading it and I was reflecting on other times when I had done just that thing where I picked up a Bible and opened it and tried to read it, and I just couldn't make heads or tails of it. With the older language and some of the things that they say, it just went over my head. Like I couldn't figure it out. Like I felt like it was over my reading level, for lack of a better way of putting it. It was just the messages just weren't coming through. It was just all kind of like gibberish to me. Like I couldn't make sense of it. But then the other day when I was looking through it with my new set of eyes and my new, the things that I've, the information that's came, that I've been exposed to over the course of the last couple of years, it all really kind of resonated with me a lot more than it ever had before. And I mean, it's just really amazing how kind of like you kind of have to get to a certain level before you can really absorb certain, like you have to get to a certain level you have to get to a certain level of knowledge before you can accept the higher level of knowledge, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think you have to you have to be willing to just accept the fact that you don't have all the answers. And I don't know, there comes a point where, you if it's up to you, and you walk through life, when there's a time that you decide that, hey, I want to know more and I want to understand what all the meaning, what all this is, and where's my place in this. When you reach that level and you reach out to God, okay, and you truly reach in with your heart, and you ask, you shall receive, and I think that's the major, that's the answer I would give people, because that's what happened to me. I went to church too, and I was very confused early on about some of the stuff that was going on. I didn't even understand God or anything like that when I was younger. I was trying to learn. Oddly enough, I've told the story where I went to church when I was a little kid by myself without my parents, because I wanted to know who God was. I mean, I was always very, very curious about this world. Like to me, like all the stuff that was going on and happening was so like bizarre to me. I was like, man, like, dude, how does all this work? And where am I? Where are we? And, it seemed to have a familiarity about this world, but I also at the same time felt like I was in someplace new, but at the same time, someplace old. And it was a strange feeling as a kid. And I remember I just wanted to like figure out who God was. And I went and and church scared the shit out of me when I was little, because I went to a Hellfire and Brimstone Baptist church, and and guys all preaching, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is like, I wasn't prepared for all that. Of course, this is before when churches had Sunday school and stuff like that, so I wasn't separated from the sermon, and that sermon was about more about the end times, and and God, being very angered, and the things that he would do. And so I was it made me sort of feel scared, and I backed away for a long time. And then I went back, and went back to my Catholic roots for a while and did that. And then I, of course, just started trying a bunch of other churches when things started going bad for me and my ex-wife. And I just, and at that point, I just gave it all. I gave everything to God. And I said, man, I really don't have any more, There's no more ego. It's like it's a removal of the ego. Once you remove the ego, I think that that's when you can really open yourself up to the teachings of the
I
Holy
think,
Spirit.
yeah, I kind of wanted to add on to what I said earlier, not just the knowledge, but the fact that I've humbled myself more, and I think life has kind of brought me to a point where I'm more accepting than I used to be. Like I remember before, I mean, even I would have been that guy who would have, who I would, I was. It's just my perspective has changed so much over the course of the last 3 to 5 years. I mean, I was just so caught up in my own self and my own ego and my own life, and
Hmm.
believing that things would never be. I had I had no connection, and I've just spiritually grown a lot since then. And I don't know. I really do think that there is a time and a place when you come to the point where a lot of people do finally get to a point where that's what they like you said, what you seek you'll find. I mean, I'm actually looking for that kind of understanding now. I want that in my life, where before it wasn't nearly as sincere, nearly as genuine, and nearly as just wasn't this. I just didn't have. I didn't have that same. That's the same outlook. I couldn't see the forest for the trees, so to speak. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, and yeah, I just humbled myself before the Lord, and I said, man, it's just I can't do this. Like I can't go through life and do this without your help. And once I realized that, uh, man, I used to have, oh boy, and it's weird because when you're in the Holy Spirit, like you remember those times like with deep admiration. There will be times where you'll be like you'll feel the Holy Spirit around you, and it's the best feeling ever. And you'll ask questions, and you'll think about it, and it's not so much that you hear a voice, but you get like answers. Like it's just amazing, and stuff starts to happen. Things start to change in your life. Like it's almost like a manifestation. It's incredible, and I've seen it happen. Of course, I've had lots of spiritual things happen to me in the last 3.5 years that defy logic. I mean, from the healings that I experienced, to the time I walked outside and that moment I walked outside going down the steps and I was under my awning and I said to myself, I was like, I don't know, I just was like, almost like it wasn't so much that I asked God for a sign. It was like I walked outside knowing I would see a sign, with such conviction. And I look up and I tell the story and I was like, I've seen, lots of meteors in my life. I've seen green ones, blue ones, that kind of stuff. But there was this purple spiraling, like meteorite that was just coming down right through the clouds. And I thought to myself, man, if that's not a sign from God, of course, purple denotes a royalty, and I was like, who's ever seen purple, a purple one? And I thought that was so cool. And it's not so much like I conjured it. It was more like I knew as I was walking out, like I was going to see something, and I sure as shit is if I didn't. And I was like, oh my God, it's freaking cool. So, I mean, just to know that, it's from time to time, I feel like God does that for everybody. He'll let you know that he's watching, he's there, the Holy Spirit is around you. And, just like I said, it comes down to humbling yourself. And I've tried to be as humble as I can about all this stuff, and just do my best to share what I've experienced and what others experience in a rational manner. So
I have one last question for you because I'm really curious about this because I so wanted to go to that Mandela convention recently, the one you attended. You did go, right?
yes.
Yeah, yeah. What was what was the general takeaway from that? The overall message that most of the speakers had, were they accrediting it to the spiritual concept, or were most of the speakers on the more on the CERN D wave explanation. I'm just curious as to what the overall majority of the speakers there, what kind of message they were putting out, like just overall.
Well, in truth, it was more of what many would call a new age message. Okay. Nobody really got into the aspect of God per se. Cynthia mentioned Jesus a few times in her speech, but most of it was about more about self, about being about self, about manifestation through the self, about the I am and things like that. A lot of that was talked about. Now, even though I don't agree with the message that a lot of them were putting out, I will say that for each person there, that they were really good people. Like, I believe that they may not believe what I believe, okay, but like I just believe that, and I'm not here to judge anybody or whatever. I'm just saying that it's not my message. It's their message or they're putting on. That's how they feel. I personally wouldn't, necessarily subscribe to that, but everyone was very kind, and I feel like their hearts, at least, were at least trying to be in the right place. Now, are they being misled and deceived a little bit? I mean, I understand their thinking. I understand why they go that route, because that message is, it's a lot easier sometimes um to speak that message of raising your vibrations, raising it to more of a Christ consciousness sort of thing. And I get why they talk about that, because it kind of puts, like, we're told, and I believe, it's like, it's weird. You can make similar correlations. Like, I believe that we are all part of God. I believe that we're pieces of God, essentially, every one of us. And so on that same token, what they talk about is pretty much, they say the exact same things I'm saying, but they just teach it in a different way, where they try to make it like you are a God. And I don't necessarily believe I am a God. I believe that I'm trying to, through good works and through prayer and the understanding, I'm trying to raise my, if you want to call it a vibration or frequency or whatever, to be closer, to be like God. That's one thing. But to say that I am, and that I can actually manifest and create like God, I don't think that's possible personally. I think that God allows this through us, okay, but it's still through God. And so I still give it to God, and nonetheless, I just don't want to get, too egotistical about it. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, I can manifest this and I can do all this stuff. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think that you're missing one key point, and the one key point is the Father. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of these messages that are in the New Age are very similar to what, most of us believe. And so it's really easy to slip right into that. And it's usually a real good, feel good message. And the people and stuff, they're all, like I said, they're all very, very nice people. I couldn't say a negative word about any of them. I had never met anybody like in person, but I met all these people, and everybody was really, really nice. And
I bet it was really cool just to get to see everybody together, collective, conscious. Just, I'm sure you felt a certain energy there that you couldn't replicate.
Yeah, I know, because you're around people that here's the thing: we might not have the same belief system, but it's like a family where, okay, you don't get along with somebody in your family, right? But when you break bread with them at the table, right, you can sit next to them and you can listen to them, and you can love them as a person. You don't have to necessarily like them. You don't have to agree with the things that they do or they say, but they're your family, and that's how it felt. And
I can see how that would be the case.
Yeah, and I'm saying, that's how I looked at it. Like, okay, I always put things in perspective. Like, what would Jesus do? How would Jesus, how would he treat the people? Like, what, and I just say that, you should love your neighbors, and no matter what. Like I said, I don't have to subscribe to everything they say. I don't have to agree with them on that. But I mean, I think that you should still try to love people. And all I'm saying is I felt a lot of love there, and I cannot deny that. So, I hope that my channel, brings people from all different walks of life, to it, and I hope that just because I might lean more towards the understanding of Christ, doesn't mean that I don't love you for your beliefs and things like that. And so that's all I try to do is just try to be understanding and to give everybody a fair shake, because I think that my walk getting here, I didn't always believe what I believed. So, I wasn't well versed in a lot of things, and it's not to say that they are, wrong or whatever. It's just that some of the stuff that they're pushing a lot of sometimes things that I wouldn't. Okay. And so, that's all I would have to say about it. But like I said, we can agree to disagree, but, it's like YouTube, man. It's like, all through YouTube, there's a bunch of different channels, and sometimes we don't always get along. There are things that happen, and some drama that gets that happens, amongst channels and amongst people. And I've taken this stance on things. It's like whatever they do on YouTube, I don't care. If they say something ill about me or something like that, it doesn't bother me. What I'm gonna do is just be like, look, what your YouTube persona is, I do not agree with it. I don't have to like it. But if I met him in person, I would still try to love them and hug them, and and just be like, you're still family, because you're still part of this community, and that's how I have to look at it, because I just don't take the YouTube stuff too seriously. It's like, because I think people tend to get in character sometimes and say things they don't really mean, and then sometimes it just comes out that way, and also things get said out of context. And so, that's how I take the whole thing across the board. And so anyway, that's sorry about the long-winded answer, but that's how I would break it down.
Do you have any other forms of answers besides long-winded ones? That was supposed to be a joke. No, but as far as like, if you ever meet me in person, you don't necessarily have to give me a hug. I'd settle for a good fist bump or something like that, though.
How about a bro hug?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bro action. Yeah, sure, man. Whatever it takes,
But no, thank you for that insight. Scarab, or Dan, or you know what I mean. I just want to say, I really those were really well. I really wanted to know that. Like, I really wanted to go to that convention. I was just curious what the overall message was going to be, and I couldn't attend it myself, so it's good to hear what that was. And I don't know, I just really appreciate getting to hear everything you just had to share. Thanks for calling in.
I bet Dan didn't think he was coming in for an interview. Oh, sorry.
What's that, bro?
I said, I bet you didn't think you were gonna be on here for an interview, did you?
Oh, I didn't mind, brother. Either way, I just wanted to call in and just thought I'd pop in real quick. I saw you guys had your last call. Lorraine was on, and I thought, what the heck? I'll give it a shot, see if I can get through. So it's been great, man. So thanks for having me aboard, and yeah, man, I'm gonna let you guys go. Let's finish it up. But thanks, guys. I love you all. Okay, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Sorry if I'm cutting in on Taco Tuesdays, man. I didn't mean to. I just the way it's falling, man. It's the 31st, New Year's Eve. So we're doing this. We just moved it up a day. But yeah, man. Hey, guys. Thanks again for having me aboard.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Thank you, bud.
Love you, Dan.
All right, man. Y'all take care. Oh, thank you, honey. Love you too. You guys have a great one.
Yep. Thanks for calling, brother. See you Tuesday.
All right, man.
Woo, man. I'll tell you what, Saji, you had your moment, dude. That was awesome.
That was great.
Well, thank you guys.
You would make a good interviewer, like Dan Rather or something,
Yeah, but I think Dan would rather be interviewed by someone else.
Are you kidding me, man?
I was just trying to make a play on words, my man.
Dan. Okay, I get it. Dan, I got you. Would rather. I just now got that. Okay.
You're slow tonight, Hebrew.
I know. I'm not showing. I'm not on my A game tonight, am I? Well,
tonight.
Yeah, I do it. There you go. Well, I know. I think I've been on the B game for a long time now. I'm making up my own characters and having interviews with myself, and in all serious, In all seriousness, though, Saji, I want to say, man, that was a great interview. So awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I felt like I kind of stole the spotlight there. I didn't give you guys a chance to talk, though, so I'm sorry for that.
That's okay, man. It was your moment.
I appreciate it. I have to talk to him all the time. So
You did great, Saji.
Awesome. Have either of you guys, any of you guys, seen the Mandela Effect movie yet?
I'd like to.
I've seen it.
I've seen it. Me and Dan.
Do you have any thoughts or opinions on it, one way or the other?
I'll let Raven talk. Me and Dan already talked about it on the one Saturday show after the movie came out, and I had a whole list of stuff, which I have since thrown away. But yeah, let Raven. She's seen it. She said so. What do you think, Raven?
Well, I thought it was a good science fiction movie. And if I was just watching it as a science fiction movie, it would have gotten like a 10 out of a 10 from me. But because I knew the subject matter, there were some things in the movie that I felt could have been done a little bit better, explained a little bit better. Just take the time to actually show how, we find residue and things like that. But the creators might not actually know that we have residue, so I don't know. But overall, it wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a good movie to watch. It's a cool movie. It was definitely worth watching. And like I brought up when we talked about it, I'll just bring it up a little bit here. Like I said, I had a big list. Me and Dan talked about it for a good while, but you could definitely see where he had been forced, just like all bigger movies, to push their agenda. That was all through the movie. The agenda they want pushed nowadays, not necessarily with the Mandela Effect. I'm talking about the overall agenda that they put in all the movies, with your LGBTQ stuff, your different symbols. There was lots of, and that's what Dan was talking about when we talked about it, lots of different symbology in there, just like any other big movie. But all in all, it was a decent movie. But it definitely pushed their agenda, put it that way.
Yeah, and it held my attention the whole way through, so it's not like, it was a boring movie or anything like that. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was, as far as a movie to watch, it was awesome. It was a cool movie.
Yeah, I hope it is successful enough that he'll be able to make a second one. I hadn't even considered that concept until Dan mentioned the thought that that could even be a possibility. But I do think the fact that there is a movie called The Mandela Effect, and it actually is a well-made movie, it does make for a good icebreaker for people to actually it's a legitimate. It legitimizes it to a certain degree as a real thing, and it is a good icebreaker for people who may who you may want to at least discuss it with, but you know, you don't necessarily want to take them to a YouTube channel to talk. Hey, let's watch a movie. You know, it's just something more legitimate about the fact that it's a movie. Do you guys understand what I mean?
Well, yeah. Plus the fact that it does use, like Dan said, a lot of the ones that woke us all up, sort of. You know what I mean? Bernstein Bears, and you know, it does bring up some of the ones that people who have never heard of them, because not everyone's on YouTube looking up Mandela effects, believe it or not. But there's people that go to movies, like you said, and they're going to at least say, well, wait a minute. What do you mean it ain't Bernstein Bears? You know what I mean? Just like we did. Of course it's Bernstein Bears. What's this movie talking about? So it does have that aspect of at least, like you said, letting people know, well, wait a minute. It's never been Bernstein Bears. It's always been Bernstein. Because there's people that hasn't ever heard that probably.
Yeah. Good point.
There's a few other ones in there, yeah.
Yeah, the monocle one was another big one in that movie, I remember.
I got to watch this movie, guys. Where can I...
Well, I know you can watch it on Amazon Prime. I think it's like $6.99 to rent.
Yeah, I could probably find a download of it, Hebrew, and then maybe we can watch it on your StreamYard or something. But I don't really have anything else. If you guys, does anybody have anything else that they want to share? Hello?
Good. I'm good. How about the rest of yous?
I'm good. All my news has been sad news this past week, and I'd rather not bring the whole group down. So,
Well, yeah, definitely want to keep you in our prayers, and Dan also, and of course everybody else out there. So yeah, make sure if you're tuning in, keep Raven in your prayers, and Brother Dan, so he can get through his toothache. No, I'm just messing with him. You know? Yeah, keep me in your prayers. Keep us all in your prayers. We need to pray for each other. We're supposed to be doing that. It really helps. You know, everyone.
yeah,
don't
and
need,
I do appreciate it.
Donations. You know, nothing like that. Prayers are awesome. Just pray for us, especially when you know someone needs it, such as Raven at the moment, Dan.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I got to say, Raven's been a real trooper here tonight. For many of you that don't know, she's been suffering through a lot of pain here lately. And I just want to say to you, Raven, thank you for that. You're an awesome person, and we all love you, and we hope that you get better, you know, and I'm sure you will. You know, all those prayers, we're praying for you. So I just wanted to add that. Okay, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, just saying thanks. I appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. That's what we're supposed to do. Well, let me give the room a final shout out, I guess. So if you want your name shouted out, speak now. So let me pop open my participant list. Yeah, there ain't many on the list, so talk if you want to holler it out. We got Awake and Activate, CJ Wood, Lothar 900, Mike Bauman, Michael Fontaine, Mystery Fried, The Truth Sets You Free, OG Gamer X. Let me pop over, see who we missed. Dun, dun. I know, of course, Lorraine was here earlier with us.
Mm-hmm.
Scrolling up, Go Kart Bob, of course, was with us. Scrolling. Keep this mouse wheel rolling. OG Gamer X. Keep my finger scrolling. SteamYard. Oh, Exo Sally. How could I forget Exo Sally? She had to leave. Dean Johnson speaking now. Wonderful. Burgos. I know Gorgrim was with us earlier. Always great to see Dean and Gorgrim both in the chat. They keep the scriptures flowing, which I like. Right. I don't see anybody else popping up. So, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hebrew?
I just wanted to shout out real quick. Euler Greg is on my channel right now watching, so there's one more for you.
Ah, cool. Rosa A also just popped in there. Starlight 418. They're popping in now. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, talk amongst yourselves a minute. I'm not prepared to leave yet, so keep them busy, people.
I never did tell Euler Greg we're over here.
Yeah, you might want to give them the link in the chat if you can. I can try to do it if you want me to. Because sometimes we might be broadcasting over here, and you want to know how to find us.
I should never put two simultaneous things going at once. I thought it would be kind of cool, though. I mean, it has worked.
Well, yeah. I mean, so there might have been a couple of people who would have missed it otherwise.
Or the S.
Oh, I guess that means good night, everybody.
Keep some to himself. See, that's how he is. Like, you don't want to always subscribers coming over here. My little bitty channel. No, yeah. It's cool, though. It's cool. We work together. It's all right. No, I think we're going to try to start over tonight, Nick. StreamYard, you have I guess a set amount of time. You're only allowed so many free hours. And I guess Hebrew ran out of hours is what happened. But yeah, we'll either get him set up with the OT, whatever it's called, the POC, or actually, Michelle, if you could, you're way better at that OBC than I am. So maybe you could help Hebrew teach him how to do a live from over there with the Hangout screen, that kind of stuff. That'd be awesome because I don't even remember if I know how. Mine's just already set up to do it. Dave East popping in right there in the end. Almost missed him on the shout out. All right, Hebrew. Play us out to the desk, Hebrew.
I always say
S is for the S's that have disappeared. H is for Haas, it's changed, my dear. I is for incredible, lots of changes to our edibles. F is freaky cause Mandela Effects are all the buzz. And T is for time that's running fast. Y is for your memories, hope they last. If it's not a fun day, won't you join me Shifty Sunday? Shifty Sunday for Emmys. Shifty Sunday, if you please.
good night, everybody. Good night.